This week on the Steam Machine Podcast, the Steamy Awards. Cue the music! Hey, everybody. Fuck. Take two. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to this week's episode of the Steam Machine Podcast. My name is Dalton, and joining me, as always, are my two buddies.
Hey, everybody, it's Nate again.
Hi.
And this week, it's the Steamy Awards.
Woo!
And also, real quick before I even forget, I hope everybody had a good Christmas, happy holiday, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate. We hope it was a wonderful holiday season for you, and we are looking forward to the new year and the next year, and may it be a prosperous, live long and prosper, all of that good jazz for you. But now that that's out of the way, gentlemen, we have an award show, and we have some emails. Now, my question to you is, which award do you want to start with first? And I'll kind of spruce in the emails as we go, and then we'll do the drawing at the end. You guys want to start with honorable mentions?
I think honorable mentions is a great place to start.
Okay, so these will be the honorable mentions for our games of the year, which we're gonna.
This game of the year is in game we played for the show rather than like the best game of 2021, mind you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. These are for the show. Now, we do have a couple categories that are things that aren't about the show, but we'll specify when we get to those. So I'll go ahead and start off with one of my honorable mentions. It was an episode I did by myself, but I absolutely adored the game. I recommend it to anybody and their mother to check it out. And my first honorable mention for Game of the Year would be West of Loathing.
Nice.
Just the writing in it was absolutely hysterical. The whole fact that everyone are stick figures and it's all like hand-drawn type stuff is just tremendous. The humor, that game is funny. One of the funniest games I've ever played. And just, I highly recommend it to anybody who wants to check it out. It would be West of Loathing. Who's got next?
Yeah, beautiful. So I think my first honorable mention for the top three would be Ultimate Fishing Simulator. I think it's a game that we all spent a lot of time having fun, and I think one of the biggest reasons why it is an honorable mention, not a top three, is because it was a really fun game, but I think the best part of it was being able to just sit and chat and kick the crap around with your buddies while catching a few fish, and really loved it, and I still go back to it time and time again, because I just really still enjoy the game also that much. So I think it was definitely close to a top three, but it's right there in honorable mentions.
I would like to throw in two for that, and this might come up later as well, but like, Ultimate Fishing Simulator, like, not only was like a good co-op experience, but dude, it opened up like my love for 80s dark wave again. And that has just been a nice ride to be on since that game.
Yeah, and I appreciate you taking us on that ride with you, because I've been really digging all the stuff that you've been sending to our group chat.
Yeah, no worries, man. No worries. I love music. I love sharing it with people. So
They sure had some really echoey synth or snare drums. It's wonderful. Yeah. You can't just go boom, boom. No, in the 80s, boom. It's good stuff.
What's your first honorable mention, Willie?
Well, I think I'm using honorable mentions a little differently than you guys. I narrowed down my game of the year to a top three. So for my honorable mentions, I have two games that I'm just not including on the list because I don't feel that they qualify for technical reasons. So for one, I'm going to go ahead and say I will not be giving awards to Doom 2 during this process. Mainly because I've already played the hell of it before we did the podcast, and I feel like I'm way biased in its favor to the point where I would be giving it awards that it doesn't qualify for. I would be like, best voice acting. I remember when Doomguy went, Goaty. So
best villain, icon of sin. Yes, like that's John Marrero's head on a stick.
So yeah, Doom 2 will not be appearing unless there's a really, really good specific reason for it.
Okay. My second honorable mention is one that I think I played this one by myself. I can't remember if Ryan joined me or not, but Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth.
Yeah, I remember that was a good episode. I think you did that one by yourself, if I remember correctly, and that ended up being a really good episode.
I had a lot of fucking fun with that game, man. Old Poop Dunk.
Yeah.
That's when me and Willie both started getting like super really involved in the podcast behind the scenes too. So we were there for when you streamed that one. That was a really fun stream to watch.
Yeah, Nanimon was hilarious, man.
Yeah, I need to get back into streaming. It's just like so easy to be like, meh, and not do it. But yeah, Digimon was it's a great, and I've always loved Digimon. I put it up there with Pokemon. I know there's like a war between the two, but really like they're completely different to me.
Yeah.
But it's just fantastic. I look forward to the second game, Hacker's Memory, of that coming up for the show, and that way maybe y'all can experience some of the Digimon as well, because they're really fun. They're quite fun games. But yeah, that's my second honorable mention. I have 3 honorable mentions.
I do as well.
So. I only have 2, so
that's okay. I guess I'll give my second one next. My second honorable mention is King of Fighters 2002 Unlimited Match. And that was an episode that I wasn't even on, but I did play it with you guys when we were going through the process. And that's just such a good, fun game with a fantastic soundtrack, an amazing selection of characters. And if you like fighting games, that is just one to roll with because it has so much to offer.
For sure.
Absolutely. I had a blast with it. But I'm not going to talk about it yet because that comes up later on my list. So. What about you, Willie?
If we start complimenting these games all at once up front, this is going to take a while. I guess I'll give my other honorable mention then. I not including this on the list, but only because I think I played it in 2021, and it was done on the show, but I wasn't involved in this episode. This was before I was part of this. So I'm just going to say, if I'd been here for it, I probably would have put Hollow Knight in my top 3. That's an incredible game.
Okay. Hollow Knight.
Just leaving it off on a technicality that I did not play it for the show. I just played it because it looked like a great game, and it was.
Hell yeah. Hollow Knight was fun. Kicked my ass, but it was fun.
Yeah, I mean, that's completely true. It is not easy, but I feel like it felt worthwhile the whole time. And it also, like, I've had a grasp on how big I thought the game was going to be, and it turned out to be about 6 times larger than I thought it was, which was really nice. Like, I had kind of a mental map for how big I think an indie Metroidvania that goes for $20 should be, and no, this game was way more than that.
Yeah, they massively undercharged for this game, in my opinion.
Yeah,
for sure. I can give you that. Okay, so I think my final honorable mention is Fallout 3. And I mean, I'm sure everyone would expect a Bethesda game to be in my top. But to me, Fallout 3 is good. It's aged though, you know what I mean? And it's not as good as New Vegas. Now, if we played New Vegas, that would be up there for sure. But like, Fallout 3 was fun. Fallout 3 was the beginning of reminding me, or making me kind of realize that maybe I like stealth games more than I give myself credit for. Because like back in the day, I would play Metal Gear and stuff and love it. And then I always say, I like to go in guns blazing. But then I catch myself here recently playing like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Far Cry 6 and stuff. And I'm doing everything where I'm going in quiet with a silencer and killing everybody and not getting noticed and stuff. I'm like, okay, maybe I like stealth games more than I appreciate. And I did a lot of that in Fallout 3. And it's a really good game though. It deserves to be up on the honorable mentions because that was like the start of the 3D Fallouts, and I just feel like it deserves some accolades for that. So yeah, definitely
a really fun game. I definitely enjoyed that one a lot. I wish I would have played it more. That was one of the ones where it was just like, I really liked what I did play, but for some reason I had trouble playing it for long amounts of time. So it's just kind of one that I fell off of, but I really did like that one a lot.
Yeah, I didn't get as many hours in it as I want because I kind of found it intimidating to start up. But every time I started playing it, I was having a great time, you know.
And that's like Tyler from Tadpog kind of talked about that when he was like, the game is very overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
until you can kind of get yourself like a player house, so that way you have a base where like you can go and store stuff, and you can kind of come back there and figure out what you want to do next. It's very much, but I completely agree. Like those open world games, and even Skyrim. Like I know that game like the back of my hand now, but if you were to go in as a new player, it could be overwhelming because of how big the map can be.
Yeah, Skyrim definitely hit me that way the first time I played it. But another thing about Fallout 3, which I think it's not the game's fault, but good God, the process we had to go through to get that game to run.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Man, that was satisfying for me, but yeah, it was a pain in the ass. When I finally got both of you to be like, oh, yep, it's up and running, it was like, yes, I have succeeded. All right, then.
Wouldn't have been so bad if we didn't spend so long barking up the Steam install version of it, and then that just, it wasn't going to work no matter what we did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was on me. I had forgotten that there was issues with the Steam version.
Well, I think it's not on you. I think it's on Steam for selling a game that doesn't work, and there's the GOG one almost worked out of the box.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, we still installed all the, quality of life mods and stuff, but, like, we could have just been playing it from the beginning,
Yeah.
If we got the GOG instead of Steam.
That's fair. That's a fair point. Well, then I think, Nathan, that just leaves your last honorable mention, and then we can figure out where we want to go from there.
My last honorable mention, it's really close to the top 3. It's like, if I'd have done things a little bit differently on how I organized my top 3, it would have been a top 3. But Portal 2, that game, just amazing in every single way. It, like, improved on the first one in so many ways, and it just felt like a full experience all the way through. Fantastic game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have a feeling that name's going to get called a few times during this during this episode.
Yeah, man. It was definitely fucking good. Well, from there, gentlemen, everybody want to give our third game of the year, or we want to do a couple categories and then do third game of the year?
Let's hit a category or two first and then run it back.
Okay, well, while we figure out what category to hit, I'm going to read an email.
Okay.
All right. This came in from our buddy James from the JRPG Report.
Hi, James.
And he wrote in, and he said, I'm not really sure what to write here, but here's some stuff. I'll write about our times together, and I'll offer an JRPG character for you. 2021, man, what a year. Over the course... I'm already fucking it up. Of course, the highlights for all were my appearances on the podcast. Listeners were allowed to hear more than one sentence at a time without curse words or boob references. And that's for better or worse. I had a blast. I had a blast recording our Trails in the Sky spoiler cast. Of course, it was reserved because many spoilers weren't revealed until many games later, but I'm glad Steamy finally gave you an A-list JRPG to dive into. And he put in parentheses, sorry, Nep Nep. I look forward to being allowed back for any of the next 8 games released so far in the West. Spoiler alert, it gets crazy. The summer was amazing, mostly due to the guest spots on the Dragon Quest XI. I'm really proud of Dalton for beating a video game. Fuck you, James. As one of my top 10 all-time... As one of my top 10 all-time JRPGs, it's worth every praise you've given it. If only the rest of the games you cover were on this level of quality. I'm still in shock the internet didn't kick you off for sandwiching a freaking Gex game between Dragon Quest XI episodes. The shame. As I write this and look back, I know I was on 4 times. Did we actually talk about Tales of Berseria? Man, it feels like a blur. I hardly recall Final Fantasy XII and Chrono Trigger. But how lucky are you guys? Seriously, the all-time GOAT, Chrono Trigger. Now that was a fun chat. You guys played 5 top-tier JRPGs in 2021, including 2 top 10 of all time. What's 2022 going to hold, and how many times will I be on? I can't wait to find out. Thanks for having me on every time, brother. So for characters, there can only be one for Dalton. Bard.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, that's very reasonable.
Now, I'll give you some credit. You land more on the cool Jaskier Bard scale, which is the Bard from the Witcher series. You might know him as Dandelion if you've played the games. You land on the cool Jaskier Bard scale, then Spoony Bard Edward level.
I was literally going to say, is the other comparison going to be Edward the Spoony Bard? So, yeah.
But you still bring a freaking lute into battle, and that's always going to be lame. Sing us a song, Dalton. Better hope it heals us. as you literally can't attack. Oh no, it's a battle where we're forced to use you. Worthless. He says, now I don't know your co-hosts Nate or Willie that well, so I'm going to give them generic JRPG qualities. They have amnesia, a strong sense of justice, but are immature, and they wear too many belts, and they yell a lot. In short, if the three of you were a team, you're doomed.
Nice.
Hope this is what you were looking for. Talk to you later, bro. James.
That's a good email.
I'll definitely get on that belt thing, man. I'm gonna steal Lulu's dress made entirely out of belts from Final Fantasy X. I'm just going to go to party with that.
Don't worry, Dalton. You'll give me bardic inspiration, and I will defeat the dragon.
Yes.
Plus, if we get enough gold, we'll upgrade your loot to a keytar.
So we can just get Dagoth wave all the time.
All the time. Just make our enemies dance to death.
There's an album title for you, Dance to Death.
Oh yeah, not bad. I have to find a cool cover for that and spend another 3-4 hours looking through covers. All right, let's start off with I think maybe the biggest surprise of the year.
Yeah.
Let's go with Nate. We'll run you first on this one. What was your biggest surprise of the year?
Yeah, so it's funny because this was one of my honorable mentions, but my biggest surprise of the year was honestly Ultimate Fishing Simulator, because it was just a game that came out of nowhere, kind of as a meme for us, because I was just sitting there playing Sega Bass Fishing, and DM Dalton's like, man, I wish I knew of a fishing game that felt more like actually going fishing. And Dalton was like, well, look what I have for you. And then for some reason we just decided, we'll just play this and do an episode on it. Like, we didn't even consult Steamy for this one, and it just turned out to be such a good time. And I still do it. I still play this game all the time. Like, it's really fun for me to play this game while watching people stream on Twitch or watching a YouTube video. It's just great.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It was a good one that just come out of nowhere. You know what I mean? Like, when you said that, and I was just like, well, I mean, I've played this. This is pretty fish simmy. I didn't expect it to be the multiplayer experience that it became for us, and that was a very good surprise. So I can definitely see that. Willie, what about you, bud?
Man, speaking of the surprises, is the radio in that game, man. That really brought us some places. I think we already touched on that a little bit, but yeah. My biggest surprise was, I just had never heard of the series before, and it showed up in the short game poll, and I saw a video of it and thought it looked really cool, but had no idea what was going on. But I was like, I'll play Ubertron or Ubermosh. It looks kind of like, I was gonna say it looks like Robotron, which is why I ended up saying 3 different words at once. Like, it just looks like hyper-violent Robotron. That sounds awesome. And we started playing it, and I mean, it kind of is hyper-violent Robotron, but man, that game was just so intense, so deep in its aesthetic, and I don't know. I didn't know exactly what to expect from it, but I left it going, these people did exactly what they were trying to do, just perfectly. Like, this game it stands on its own as a series.
Yeah, Walter Mercado definitely did what he wanted to with that game, and it was a good time for sure. Like, I definitely enjoyed that one as well.
Yeah, I had a blast doing that, and it was fun because like we got to kind of see how it evolved, because we just played the series, since they weren't really like long games; they were more just like sessions. You know what I mean? Very much a session style where you sit down and you're just like, all right, I'm gonna bust out 4 or 5 rounds and then whatever. But yeah, it was good stuff, man.
It was a low stress game to record for too, because like sometimes I feel like bad because I only get 8 hours into a 40-hour game, but like in this case, I beat 3 games for that week, and it didn't even take that long, so it was kind of nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I never mastered any of them. I wasn't getting the top achievement for each thing, but I got the clear the level one, which was good enough.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's part of the way the show works, though, is we don't have to become the best in the world at these games. We just get to enjoy them, play them, see what we think, and report on them.
That's just very tempting
used.
Yeah.
Yeah, just tempting in narrative games, especially RPGs and games with big story elements, to like, I don't know, get caught up in trying to finish the story when that's only a part of what makes a game a game.
Yeah, for sure. Like, because I definitely kind of got that way with Battle Chef Brigade, where I didn't play anywhere near as much of that as I could have or should have, but I played what I needed to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like you'd already made it made the exact impression on you that it was gonna. I don't think you were gonna. Oh, I mean, from what you said, it didn't really sound like you were going to change your mind on it.
Yeah, I don't think I would have. But I think we need to understand that as doing this podcast, we don't need to put as much pressure on ourselves, that we can play what we need to of the game to make our impressions.
Yeah,
we did really great with that at Quake, for instance. Like, we basically played one session of Quake, but like I think that was what we needed to do.
I think it was as well.
Because I considered tryharding that game, streaming, trying to beat the whole thing on hard, every single player level. And I think not making it a job was a good idea.
Yeah, my whole thing is like, I don't expect anybody to ever beat all the games that we play. Yeah, I mean, I try to, but that's just me. Like, I have a lot of time at the moment. So, like, you know, I don't expect anybody, like, even when Ryan was on the show, I never expected him to beat any of the episodes. Or beat any of the games, you know what I mean? So.
I'd say he beat some of the episodes.
Yeah, he beat some of them. Anyway, I think the biggest surprise for me this year was a recent one, man. Creevers.
Yeah.
That was literally just like, I think, Willie, you were just not feeling great that week, and me and Nate wanted to just find something quick and easy to play, and we decided, Creevers looks really cool. It looks like it has lots of bioluminescence stuff. And it did. And man, that game was stupid fun for just being a random pick. And the fact that what was it, full price? It's like $4.99.
Yeah, $4.99 is what I paid for it, and that was full price.
And I got so much more than $5 worth out of that game.
Girl, same.
It was a really good time, and I just wasn't expecting it. I was expecting, okay, let's just do a little indie game to fill. No, dude, but it ended up being a really fucking fun game. So,
absolutely,
I had a good time with that one. So, biggest surprise for sure for me was Creevers. And I think that would lead into the smallest surprise. What surprised us least this year?
Well, for me, I don't think it's any surprise that I was not surprised by either Dragon Quest XI or Hollow Knight, as they were both games that I had beaten and was super excited to play for the show. Like, I'm the reason Hollow Knight was played on the show, because I got Dalton a copy of it, you know?
Aye. Speaking of that, real quick, before I forget, speaking of getting copies, let me scroll up here. I want to thank Eraser Adam. He gifted us The Sinking City to try. And he said that he would possibly like to join us for that.
Awesome.
So cool. we'll try to arrange that. We won't let that dean to Steamy. We'll figure that out. And then I also want to thank. I don't remember if I've thanked Fenris for this before, but I want to thank him. Finn, they gifted us Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, which should be a cool game. And then the other day, Grim randomly gifted me Terraria.
That's a very grim thing to do.
Yeah.
So. I wanted to thank everybody for adding some games to our show list, man. We appreciate it. So, yeah. Anyways, so your smallest surprise, Dragon Quest XI and Hollow Knight.
Yeah. I don't think I need to go into detail on that.
I'll go ahead and say mine, because it's one of the same. My smallest surprise was Dragon Quest XI, because I went in knowing that was a tremendous game, and that's exactly what I got out of it, is that it's a fucking tremendous game. Yeah. What about you, Willie? What's your smallest surprise of the year?
Mine is a tie between Portal 1, because I had played about half of it before we did the episode on it, and I pretty much knew exactly how I felt about it before I ever got around to it. And then Doom 3, which is a game that lived up to every element of its reputation within the Doom community. Every single thing I thought I would like and wouldn't like about it was exactly what I did and didn't like about it. I was hoping for it to surprise me in some way, in any other way other than jump scaring me.
Yeah. Yeah, Doom 3, it was not the game that I remember. But also, I didn't have BFG edition when I was a kid, and I wonder how big the difference is between the two. But, c'est la vie.
I mean, if you like the horror elements, then apparently BFG does kind of lose a little bit of that. So, you know.
Yeah. Okay, so let me delete the honorable mentions. All right, so let's go ahead and do our number 3 for the game of the year. I'll start this one off. My third game of the year, Phasmophobia.
That is also what I have for my third.
Really? Wow. All right, let's hear it.
So, Phasmophobia was a game that I bought when Game Buds was really into it, and then I never even installed it because we just moved on to playing something else, and I never got around to it. And then when Halloween was coming up, I believe it was one of you was like, we should play a Halloween game.
That was me.
and include Jeff. And we were like, Jeff, you ever played Phasmophobia? No. Perfect. It's 2 people that have and 2 people that haven't. And that ended up being stupid fucking fun. And starting this whole like new wave of Ghost Hunters, because we just started playing it more.
Yeah, like, everything about that was such a good time because, like you said, you and Jeff had never played, and me and Willie had, and it was just such a fun experience having like Jeff come in because Jeff was so freaking funny through that whole experience.
Yeah.
And like the reason, like I think Phasmophobia, because it's just such a great multiplayer game, and the reason I think that it kind of like crept into the top 3 above like Ultimate Fishing Simulator, which was also something we did multiplayer, was just because it also had a really fun gameplay element to it too. It wasn't just like we're just sitting here doing the same mindless task over and chatting. No, we were having funny conversations with each other while trying to attempt to figure out what this ghost that wanted to kill us was. And it just ended up being such a good time. Like, I think it's a game that you need to play it with the right crew. Like, I can't imagine doing it with randos, but if you have the right people, this game is so much fun.
Yeah, I feel like maybe with randos it would get to the point where, like, if people were dying a lot, it might get annoying. But like with your friends, it never ceases to be funny to me to watch one of you guys just get wrecked by the ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, y'all might get annoyed and be like, damn it, I died again. I am over there just fucking cracking up, watching you guys float in air, grabbing your necks and shit. Like, and I love the whole, like, when somebody dies and we're already dead, I just start crouching up and down going, one of us. One. And me and Mitch started that.
Yeah, that was so funny. And then Jeff is just the funniest person to have die. He's got an axe!
He's got an axe! Yeah, it's always great to hear Jeff just shout from another room, like, it's coming for me! And then it's gone. We're like, oh, yeah, he died.
Yep, there's Jeff. Bye, Jeff.
I appreciate that he's communicative when he's about to die, because I just go, oh, god damn it, to myself without even hitting the speech button, usually.
I have a big issue with just running into the ghost on accident and them killing me on instead of whoever they're going for. But
yeah, I remember. I think in the prison you literally walked onto it as it was spawning or something.
Like, I feel like you're just like get down, Mr. President, for everyone.
I'll take the bullet. It's all good. All right. All
right. I guess for my number 3, I'm gonna go ahead and go with. So I put down a top 3, but didn't actually order them yet. So I'll pick. I'm gonna say Trails in the Sky, Legend of Heroes, Trails in the Sky. I think that game was just top to bottom, a really incredible experience. I mean, I hadn't been playing JRPGs in years, and then this year you guys got me playing a few RPG games, and I really brought back that love of the genre. And this one really reminded me more of like, I know it's more of a like PlayStation 2 era game, but it reminded me more of also like the 16-bit feelings a lot of the times, but like just a sort of scaled up version of that. And I don't know, I really enjoyed it.
What's amazing to me with Trails in the Sky is that it's a Japanese game that originally came out on PC in 2008, which is just, I don't correlate PC gaming with Japanese gaming a lot because, you hear so much about them liking handhelds and consoles and stuff. So that was very interesting to me. And of course, Trails in the Sky was a cult hit until it went to Vita on the handheld, and then everybody played it and was like, holy shit, this is great. Or, the PSP. But yeah, I agree. I'll talk about it more later. It's for sure. Yeah. It's other places on my list.
And that was the one episode of the show where I was like, I got to take a break from the show. I couldn't quite get myself to play that one as well. So that's when I kind of took a brief hiatus from recording for a little bit. And good fun fact, I started playing it a couple days ago. So
you did.
I will get to know a little bit more about it.
And
it was a bummer because you sounded so excited to play it when we were in the run up to it, and then you just completely had no time and energy for it when it actually came time. So I'm glad you're finally getting around to it, you know?
And I do want to say that in our chat, you've been saying that it's kind of slow burning in the beginning, and you were kind of like, don't play it for long periods. I went through the same exact thing until I hit about chapter 2.
Okay.
Like when I first played the game, it was when I went back to it for the show and got past that beginning part that I was like, oh, okay, holy shit, here we go.
Gotcha. So okay, cool. Well, I'm definitely going to try to stick with it. But unfortunately, somebody convinced me to buy Mortal Kombat 11, and now that's starting to take up some of my time.
I wonder, I don't know who that could have been. That guy was probably an asshole.
If this show wasn't already set to be a deluxe boy, I have a feeling you guys would already have some good Mortal Kombat chat. But I think that we should definitely have that as a segment next week.
For sure.
Oh, yeah. That's fine with me.
So I just figure this episode's fixing to be a long and
let's do another quick email.
Yeah.
And then we'll get to some more. So I actually got 2 different emails from Adam. So I'm going to read one of his
Awesome.
right now, and then I'll read the second one. Hi. So this is from Arisa Adam. Hi, boys. Here's a little bit of reflection about my time listening to the Steam Machine podcast. I came across this podcast when searching for a playthrough/play-along podcast for the JRPG series Ys, which brought me to the early episodes of Ys 7 from Dalton and Ryan. Their good-natured banner and the opening of Hetero Life Partner drew me in, and I felt an affinity to Ryan's situation, having gone from a gamer to a casual after starting a family. I had heard Dalton's voice somewhere before, and I couldn't pick where at the time, but it was definitely from his time on the JRPG Report, and his dulcet tones and strong humor make listening to the podcast a joy. Patreon is something I don't normally do, but TSMP does something that most podcasts don't do, which is encourage community and listener participation. Plus, the list of games has been awesome, so I'm happy to contribute to that. Memorable episodes have mainly been the JRPGs, Dragon Quest XI, Final Fantasy XII, and Persona 4 Golden are the ones that spring to mind, as Dalton gave me some great builds and tips for those games, as I have yet to finish them. Guest hosts are also a feature to see continue, with Jeff and James coming on board in their various expertise in games, bringing new and tasty flavor to the show, and their episodes have also been standouts. The intros and anecdotes from all the hosts are a pleasure, including Nate's rise up to speedrunning ranks, Willie's love and expertise in first-person shooters, and Dalton's sexcapades. Whilst it was sad to see Ryan go, the Brothers of Destruction make for a top-tier panel along with Dalton to keep the great podcast going for many years to come.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, we appreciate you.
That was such a nice
Adam.
email. Like, for sure. That made me feel really good. Thank you, Adam.
Yeah, man. For sure. Appreciate it. Got the little Indian tear going. Let's see. What category next, gentlemen? You want to do some music-based stuff, maybe?
Sure, why not?
Sure.
All right, Willie, you want to go first on this one? I don't think you've gone first yet.
No, I haven't. Which one are we on?
Let's do song then soundtrack.
All right. Actually, I don't think I want to go first on song because I had trouble breaking mine down and I gave a top 3.
Okay.
So I'll go first on overall soundtrack instead.
Okay.
This one I'd really debated on a lot too, and it could have gone a bunch of different ways. But then I really thought about it, and the combination of new music and arrangements from previous games and remixes and all that made it really hard for me to not give it to Dragon Quest XI-S.
Yeah, that's also what I gave soundtrack of the year to. Like, the way they incorporated, because it was a really fun experience for me too, because like I'd played some of the older Dragon Quests, but this is the first year like I went ahead and streamed all of Dragon Quest 3. And I remember there was an area called Japang in there, and when I got to Japang in Dragon Quest 3, I was like, hold up, this is the music from Hato in Dragon Quest 11. It was just so cool going back and seeing like all those little translations from the old games to the new games, and then all the original soundtrack in Dragon Quest 11. Like, it just really did it for me as well.
The switch to use the Dragon Quest VIII music if you wanted to also, which was like one of the other ones that I'd played the most in the series. Like, I don't know. But yeah, I was definitely going to bring up the Hato and Japang thing if you didn't, because that also really just struck. Just the timing worked out really well, because I'd watched you stream DQ3 at that point in time, and I'd played it a few years ago, but it, like, when I hit that town in the game, I'm like, this sounds familiar, but I don't know why. And like that moment where it clicked was just so crazy.
Yeah.
I agree, but that's not my answer. But I agree with everything you said, because Dragon Quest XI did have a great fucking soundtrack.
There were like 2 or 3 other games I considered giving this to. That it was the tie-ins to previous games that ended up winning it for DQ11 for me.
Yeah, and that's totally fair. My soundtrack of the year is a game that is going to pop up a lot in my awards this year. That would be a game called Trails in the Sky. That soundtrack,
that was probably the
baller.
chief competition for me.
That soundtrack's baller. There's so many good songs in it that it was hard to choose, between them. But yeah, soundtrack of the year for sure. Trails in the Sky, really well put together. Honestly, like any of those games done by Neon Falcom, like Ys, Trails, all those games, the soundtracks are fire always. So it's really cool.
I'm looking
really
forward to
enjoy
getting to hear the rest of that soundtrack as I play through it then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really quite good. Quite good. All right. Song of the year. I'll go ahead. I'll go first on this one. I had a tie
Nice.
I had a tie.
Okay, so a lot of ties. Nate, did you have a single
I
one,
have
or
a
did you have a
single.
tie
I
also?
have a single because I had
You
to
have a
think
single?
about it a lot. But go ahead, Dalton.
I couldn't narrow it down. I have a feeling we had pretty similar ones.
So, mine were a tie between two songs from Trails in the Sky.
Oh, both of them from Trails. Okay.
So, and I have reasonings for both. A Cat Relaxing in the Sun is such a good fucking song, and it sings to the guitar player in me because it's just an acoustic guitar arrangement that is beautiful and so peaceful sounding. Like, I really want to learn how to play it. Like, that was my first thing. I was like, holy shit, I need to learn. And I tried, and I need to get a little better finger picking. But
Yeah.
I'm going to learn that song.
I'm going to go ahead and say it. That song is also in my top 3. There's a reason why I've sent a guitar tab to the group before, because both of us were like, I kind of want to learn how to play this one, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I also had Cat Relaxing in the Sun from Trails in the Sky. It was just such a calm and cool piece of music, and I don't know, it just makes me feel happy and peaceful.
For sure. But the song of the year, and I thought this was a tie, but reading now, no, I did make a choice. But the song of the year very closely followed, or like it was, While a Cat Relaxing in the Sun is very close, but the song from the City of Zeiss
Oh, yeah.
it's just a fucking groove, man. Like, it is so groovy, the bass and the keyboard going on, and just, that is my song of the year, is the song from the City of Zeiss from Trails in the Sky. It's just so fucking good. Or Zeiss. I think it's Zeiss, but either way.
I think it's nice, yeah. That was the industrial city, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that definitely.
Yeah, for sure. That place had a groove.
Can you imagine your 2 top songs of the game were just town themes from an RPG from 15 years ago?
That's crazy.
So good. All right, who wants to go next?
Well, I guess since I have the narrowed down to a one song thing, I'll go ahead and take this one. I went a little bit different from you guys because, like, I thought about all the JRPG tracks. Like, yeah, they're all incredible, but I can't pick one from Dragon Quest as being the best song or anything like that.
I think I know where you're going with this, and this is also in my top 3.
And I couldn't go with. I kind of wanted to think of some of those musics from Portal, like especially the Jonathan Colton originals. But
Oh, you didn't go where I was
I
thinking.
did
then.
not take that. But the song that I
Okay.
chose for Song of the Year is one that you'll probably like, Willie. I chose "Running from Evil" from Doom 2, the first mission song in the game, because I feel like that song is the best song in that game, for one, and it sets the tone for the rest of the freaking game. Like, it pulls you in. You know what you're getting because this music is kind of bumping at you, and you got imps coming after you. I just think it works really well in the context of the game, and it's a pretty slapping tune as well.
I definitely remember when you were streaming it, you got to map 15, which also uses D-Run in, and you were like really jamming when it gets to the guitar solo, because you don't always hear that when you're playing like E1 or map 1, because you're just going to run right through that level, but you're just kind of like, and like, yeah. That's a funny pick too, because like a lot of people in the Doom games like don't love that one as much, just because if you make maps, that's like, if you put your map in slot 01, which a lot of people do while they're working on it, every time you play Taste the Level, dun 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 dun.
Yeah, I can see where that would get irritating for people in the Doom community that build maps, but I'm just a filthy casual who just enjoyed playing the game.
I mean, it's like saying your favorite video game music is the Super Mario Bros. Theme. It's not a bad choice. It really isn't. All right. I guess I'll go with I had Cat Relaxing in the Sun. I also had BFG Division from Doom 2016. And lastly, I went with I was too obvious. This is obvious. I wanted it to not be this because it was, again, this is a zero brain pick. It was perfect. It was a moment in time. Still Alive.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with. It really is. Because it's also one of the few vocal tracks that we really get in video games as well. Especially one that has as much, like, if you're from that time period, even if you did not play Portal, you heard that song.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean by it was a moment in time.
Like, I knew that song having never played Portal.
Exactly.
And
I'm so glad that we played it far enough distant from its original release that like some of the memes and jokes that people repeated are no longer stale and old, and so you got to appreciate it instead of it being kind of I don't know, gamer memed out a little bit.
That makes sense too.
And a quick shout out to Factory Sealed Retro Video Game Podcast, when they covered Portal, at the end, they ended it with the 4 hosts doing their own rendition of Still Alive, and it was fantastic.
Nice.
Yeah, none of them. Well, I take that back. Mike can hit a note. The other three, they did. It was funny. It was great. I loved it. Let's see, you guys. Let's do best turn-based combat.
All right.
Let's see, Nate. Let's you go first on this one.
Yeah, that's a super easy one for me to answer too. That goes to Dragon Quest XI, hands down. Like, it gave me everything I had missed for like a decade in JRPG combat. It's like really throwback, really simple in a lot of ways, but it just feels like that classic JRPG feel that I missed for such a long time. Like, it's so good.
Oh yeah. Willie, what about you?
This is going to sound strange because I actually, now that I'm thinking about the difference between the two games, I think the in-game combat itself was better in Dragon Quest XI, but I'm still going to give it to Trails in the Sky because I really enjoyed setting stuff up out of combat. Like, I think anytime I failed in that game, like, going back and setting everything up differently before the next time I went into it, like, really made me feel like I was, using my noodle, like I was strategizing, and, and I don't know, like, I'd say Dragon Quest probably had the best one-time fights, and this one had the best retry 'em fights.
Yeah, mine is also Trails in the Sky. Probably no surprise to anyone. But I really enjoyed the fact that you kind of you couldn't just go into a battle and mash X. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you had to fucking think a little bit. Because, what enemy do you want to go first? Do you want to go for the ones that could gang up on you, or do you want to go for the one that's going to hit you the hardest? Try to deal with the turn base, or not the turn base, the turn orders, and try to make your characters go more soon in the turn order and things like that, which is why, like, preemptive strikes were the fucking best.
do you want to, like, spend resources in order to attack multiple things or multiple times, or do you want to just find the one enemy that's the most dangerous and try to take it out first?
Yeah.
Like, there was a lot, like, and despite the fact that it looks like a tactical RPG, like, I don't think it played like a Final Fantasy Tactics type game. Like, I feel like the positioning was only a small part of it, and most of it was just really good selection from your menus, and I don't know, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, because it's like less, like you said, it's less strategic or tactical combat, and more like the squares represent how far your attack ranges and stuff. Kind of puts that into an easier, I don't know. It was really fucking good. And I enjoyed it quite a bit. So that's going to be my best turn-based combat. Best action combat.
Yeah, because since I started the last one, I'll start this one too. I think it might be an interesting choice, but for my money, hands down, the best action combat came from Quake. Because it was so fluid, and the movement in that FPS reminded me that movement in FPSs can be fun. And I know you say they still use this engine for like Team Fortress 2 and things like that, and I can see why. Because it's just fun. It works so well in both, like, fighting the monsters in the game and fighting each other in those death matches. Everything about that action combat felt amazing.
Yeah, very fluid. Very fluid.
I would have to agree that I don't know if there's ever been a game that handled movement quite like that. Like, I've obviously been a big Doom 2 fan my whole life, and I don't mind the ice skatey kind of physics Doom guy has and the momentum he has, but I feel like Quake does the best job of giving you this feeling of total control over your character.
Yeah.
It's a really good pick. So I've actually had a tie on mine. I couldn't decide if I liked Ubermosh's absolute chaos or if I liked Doom 4's, like, really rapid decision making.
Those are good choices too, because, like, Doom 4, like, that game made you, like, really go for it. Like, you had to concentrate on it, know what you were doing, and make split-second decisions. It was really fun to do. And then Ubermosh, it was just like, let's just go bananas out here.
Absolutely. Both the games had a really cool feeling that your best defense was offense, though.
Yeah.
Like, you absolutely had to come out swinging because you didn't want to you weren't, like, running for cover most of the time. You were running at things, trying to get rid of it. And I've always liked that, you know?
For sure.
Yeah. They both rewarded you for being proactive, but also they were also very reactionary, where it was like, bullets coming at you, you need to either avoid them, or in the case of Ubermosh, hit them back at them, or whatever you decided to do. Yeah, for sure. Both fantastic choices.
Yeah, and the decision making in Doom, where you had to do like what was it called, a glory kill in Doom, in order to
glory kills
to replenish your resources. So it's just like do a fatality and you get rewarded for it. Like it was a really cool system.
It's a really smart mechanic to have you charge deeper into battle despite the fact that you're injured.
Yeah, it makes it a good, quick way to get some HP back, too.
Yeah.
My best action combat, I gave it to Tales of Berseria.
Okay.
It just felt so good going in there as Velvet and your party of, people that you had with you. I can't remember their names because I smoke a lot, but Velvet was such a badass character, and just figuring out her little combos that you could do with her special moves and just going in and wiping out a whole thing of enemies. It was so much fun. I really fucking enjoyed Tales of Berseria. And that Tales of Berseria was like right outside of my top 3. I don't know why I didn't give it an honorable mention, but it definitely deserved to be there.
I have a fun question for these awards for you, Dalton. We weren't there for this episode, but if you were to have entered Final Fantasy XII into one of these categories, would you consider that turn-based or kind of action-y because you don't really directly control everything?
That's a good question. I guess it would sort of be a hybrid, because in theory you can do pause, like you can kind of pause what your character is doing and set them all to do stuff, and then let it play out, or you can set up their gambits to where when you run into battle, basically they just do everything on their own, and you can sit back and watch. It just kind of depends on how you want to play it.
Then I'm inventing a special extra category just for you. Best hybrid RPG combat. Fallout or Final Fantasy XII?
Between Fallout 3 and Final Fantasy 12?
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 12.
Well, that's the beginning for this year. Okay. That makes sense.
I think it pulled it off a little better. And that's not taking anything away from Fallout 3,
I mean, combat's more discreet and rich, I feel like. Fallout's kind of more... Oh, it's a thing that happens among many.
Yeah. It's like Fallout 3 is very like the combat is not the main focus.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's do another email real quick.
We did another one from Adam, right?
Yeah, we got the other one from Adam. Let me see where that is. Okay. Hey guys, so here is my mix of a D&D party and a JRPG party for characteristics. Dalton, the classic Nord/warrior. Two-handed weapon, probably a broadaxe with some heavy plate / Daedric armor. Specialization in cooking, buffing, and strength. Lawful neutral alignment.
I can see that. So you kind of... Feels like you'd be DPS tanking with this.
Nate.
Which I think you're the one I would trust most with an axe of the three of us.
We got Nate, a two-handed rogue with daggers, though he has versatility with the dual spec Ranger. Can summon animals, including turtles and bears, to fight by his side.
Love that.
Has some illusion and destruction magic, and he has a true neutral alignment.
That's fun. I like that.
True neutral works a lot with druidic. So you're summoning some dire tortoises
Hell
for
yeah,
us?
dude.
Dude, see, you're imagining a small turtle and a big bear, but I'm thinking, like, the bear is riding the tortoise, man.
Just think of this. We need to cross the ocean. I'm summoning a giant sea turtle for us all to get across on.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah. Lapras, you surf.
Exactly.
Oh, Jesus. Willie is a techno mage.
Ooh.
Wears robes and has spellcraft and all the basics.
Oh.
Healing, elementals, and buffs. Appears unassuming, timid, and kind on the surface, however. His special skill is to summon 2 large miniguns to tactically and with extreme force exterminate all threats to the party.
That's awesome.
Hell yeah.
Chaotic neutral alignment.
That sounds about right.
I dig it. I dig it. This is a very good character.
Dude,
Yeah.
Adam
I like to think that
those were great.
I would like to use that like the last bit as my limit break almost. Like, I'm going to stick with the techno mage stuff 90% of the time, but when it becomes time to rip and tear, you know what it is.
Say hello to my little friends.
It makes me think, oh god, I can't remember her name. The little girl from Trails in the Sky whose move, like, she just whips out a minigun out of nowhere and starts blasting bullets. It doesn't even, don't even look it up because I don't want to give it away to Nate, but that girl, that's what it makes me think of. It's like unassuming, and then all of a sudden just like, motherfucker. Awesome. All right. Let's do...
Good emails so far. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, for sure. Let's do best hero and villain. And
Okay.
I'll start this one off with the villain. My best villain for the year was Artorias Colbrand, who is the bad guy from Tales of Berseria. I have never wanted in a JRPG to inflict pain on a motherfucker like I did Artorias Colbrand. Without going into too much detail for those who haven't played it, like, he just does some really fucked up shit. He thinks he's in the right, but he's not. And you end up having to fuck him up for it. And it's just, man, play Tales of Berseria. It's a great game. And definitely he was an evil ass motherfucker, so I give it to him. Yeah, that's my best villain.
So my hero and villain, instead of choosing main characters, I just chose individual ones that I really liked. Like, mine is less best hero and villain and more best face and best heel.
I like that. Who's the heel then? Let's go.
I'm actually picking a fairly non-major, kind of a medium-ish character, minor villain. I want Josette from Trails.
Oh, God, yeah.
Because she wasn't even the main person on the screen most of the time she was there, but she was the villain I wanted to beat the baddest. I really wanted Estelle to get one over on her, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I can get that totally. There were meaner and worser people in many of the games we played, and Lord knows if we got further in Doom 4, Samuel Hayden would probably be a possible contender for this too. But I don't know. I'm giving it to Josette, man. That's just rubs me the wrong way in a nice. Good way. It was enjoyable.
Yeah, for sure. So I think my best villain's kind of probably a pretty traditional pick, but for me, I think the best hands down villain that we played in these games, and I'm surprised I don't go with JRPG, but honestly, Morrigan wasn't a great villain.
No, unfortunately, no.
But GLaDOS from Portal, like,
it was really hard not to pick GLaDOS, and after picking Still Alive earlier, I don't think I could do it.
Yeah, so at least I didn't pick Still Alive, so I can pick GLaDOS here. She's just so she's just so good. Like, ugh.
It's the right answer.
Huh?
Yeah, for sure.
It's the right answer.
I think Wheatley could be up there too from Portal 2, but it just didn't have the same impact that GLaDOS did in that first one. So yeah, I can totally see that. All right, then best hero. This might be a shock to some people, but my best hero is Estelle Bright from Trails in the Sky. Now, like, I assume most people would probably think that I would have went with Josh, but to me, Estelle evolves more in that game than Josh does, and really watching her like mature as the game goes on was really cool. And just like the ending, without going into the ending because I know neither of you know it, really puts just a chef's kiss bow on the whole thing. And man, I'm ready to see how Estelle handles part 2. You know what I'm saying? So like, I really enjoy her as a character. So best hero, Estelle Bright, nice. Trails in the Sky.
I mean, I'm a big fan of that. I consider, if I were picking a Trails character, I would have picked her too, because I think that I just like her. Like, she's the main character, but she's not the taciturn, you know, kind of doesn't talk to anyone one. She's like the brash and like starting stuff one, and like she feels what she feels without any apology for it. You know, I kind of love that.
I'm still technically in the prologue of Trails in the Sky, and I already see that because like I'm used to like video games where your main character oftentimes is just like a stand-in for you, so they're very stoic and they don't say anything.
Exactly,
and it's like up to you to kind of fill in the gaps in here. I'm really enjoying that aspect of Trails though, where she's just like this, like, kind of like a crazy kid just out doing her stuff, and she does not care who knows it. And like, I love that little bossy attitude she has. She's just great.
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
All right, so I guess for my best hero then, I'm surprised my list has come out so RPG heavy so far. But I mean, these are categories RPGs excel in. And again, like I said, this is less best hero, like best main hero, and more most enjoyable face, and that's Sylvando, man.
God, I love Sylvando so much, dude. Sylvando's the best.
Yeah, I mean, come on, right? That character just adds so much energy to every scene he's in. He's so ridiculous without being a punchline. Like, he's so cool. I love it.
Yeah, because like the thing I love about it too is like he gets to go out and be like this a super clearly flamboyant person, and at the same time be a complete and total badass who shows everybody else up in so many situations. It's like those two things need to merge in media more often because it's such a cool combination, and I love it. Because Sylvando just like showing Prince Ferris how to basically be a prince.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, he's so good, and everyone's like, he's just a little jester. No, he's a knight.
Yeah, exactly. He's more knightly than anyone that's stuck with the knight program, man. There's just something awesome. He's just living his own dream, though, but he still has, foibles and problems, too, and I don't know. I feel like there was just a lot more depth than you would expect from a character that, in worse hands, could have been written as a complete joke.
Yeah, he was like the video game version of that character from True Blood. Cannot remember the character's name, but it was a very flamboyant black guy. And I'll never forget this scene where they were in the kitchen and he was cooking, and these 3 redneck dudes sent some food back, and they didn't want it because it was going to have AIDS on it. And that black guy walked over to a table and he was like, "Who ordered the cheeseburger?" And he goes, "Our cheeseburgers come with like mayonnaise, mustard, lettuce, tomato, and AIDS." And the dude was like, said something else, and she goes, "Well, here, have the burger then, on me." And she picked it up and licks it and shoves it in his face, and he stands up and she fucking knocks him out. Other dude stands up, she punches him and knocks him down the back of the fucking thing, and the third dude's looking at her, she just goes, "Tip you, waitress," and walked away. And I was like, yes, get them.
That sounds damn satisfying. I've never seen the show, actually.
I mean, me neither, but I've seen that clip on the internet. And I'm like, I love that person. I love them to death. Let's see. Nate, you gave best hero.
No, I have not yet.
You didn't give a. Okay.
So my best hero actually went a little bit off the rails on this one too, because like I was thinking of like main characters again, and like I didn't want to do the whole like I think I started and it kind of just stopped, right, where I said most heroes in these games were just stand-ins for you and stuff.
Yeah.
But so I couldn't give it to an RPG because that's kind of how it is. But there was a great character that didn't have really any voice lines, didn't have like any lines or anything that I thought was fantastic. And that was Kiki from Gato Roboto.
Oh!
Because like,
yeah.
You know what?
She's sassy, she's fun, she has an attitude that you can read between the lines without having any actual words to it. And it's just a departure from your traditional hero in a game. Like, you're the cat that's saving its owner, not the dog even. The cat. It's so good.
That's a really good pick. I like that a lot. Because there was a lot of characterization for a character that had no literal lines, you know? And, like, even the animation had a lot of distinct character to it. Like, Kiki was awesome.
Yeah, that game was great. I had a blast playing it. I loved, like, my favorite part of that game was finding the different, like, I'll call them skins that you could use for the overlay, like making it look, the palettes.
Yeah, the color cartridges,
and just making the game look differently. That was really cool. Some of them hurt my eyes, but they were cool still.
Yeah.
Like
if you like that feature, when we get around to Downwell, that has a very similar mechanic.
That'd be cool.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
it's also a game that uses like Game Boy level of color palette.
Yeah, because like not all those palettes in Yato Roboto were very visually appealing to the normal eye. But I think they were a great Easter egg, especially because some of them were just like references to other things. Like there was definitely a Game Boy color palette. You know, it was really neat.
Yeah. I think the one that fucked my eyes up the most was the Virtual Boy window. It's just red and black, and it's like, and this looks really cool. But after 5 minutes, you're like, holy shit, my eyes hurt. Oh, man. Let's see. What do you gentlemen have for best setting? Like, you're the best area.
I ended up having like 9 things written down, and I started deleting them one by one. In the end, this is really going to sound like I'm just trying to gas one game up a bunch, but I really liked the kind of arcane punk setting of Trails in the Sky, where it's like magic-y steampunk almost, but like, I don't know, like ancient technology instead of steam technology. Like, it's a neat setting. I've always enjoyed magic technology in games. I liked it in Breath of the Wild a lot. You know, like you have ancient, archaic technology from an ancestor. You know, like it's a cool looking setting. I've always enjoyed it whenever I've seen it, and this game handled it really well. And, you know, it made things like the little airships, like, there's very little reason airships should exist in the Final Fantasy games, and I feel like they're kind of explained in Trails.
Yeah, okay, that is a good point, actually, now that you talk about that. The airships get a little bit of explanation in 12, but in any of the other games, no, I'm right there with you. It's like, oh, how do these work?
It's about 12 games too late to start explaining why there's airships in Final Fantasy.
Well, in the explanation in the first game that you have a floater crystal or whatever, and that's just it.
Oh my
The
god.
floater, not one of the greater item titles given.
Fat bastard found a floater.
I found our floaters. Coffee tastes like shit. Oh man. My best setting was a hard choice between two. I was torn between the Capital Wasteland.
Yeah, that was one of the last ones I got deleted on there too.
And Ivalice, which is the land of Final Fantasy XII, Final Fantasy Tactics, and parts of Final Fantasy XIV. But Final Fantasy XII, Ivalice edged it out by a smidgen because it was less depressing. Like, it's like Star Wars and all. Like, basically, Final Fantasy XII is Final Fantasy, a Star Wars saga. I swear to God. Like, if you were just to take everything in that game and replace the Final Fantasy terms with Star Wars terms, they would fit perfectly.
That is not new in the Final Fantasy series, man. Final Fantasy VI has a lot of direct Star Wars influence.
And that where Biggs and Wedge started out in.
It sure is.
Yeah. And they've been in the games ever since, as far as I know.
But I mean, it's also, there's the Rebel Alliance fighting against the evil Empire. They got the main villain who isn't even as scary as the scary, like, the strongman of the villains, you know?
But yeah, I gave it to Ivalice. Capital
I guess it
Wasteland.
makes General Leo Obi-Wan Kenobi.
But you can't play. Oh, I see. You can't play as Obi-Wan. Capital Wasteland almost won because, like, that's really, like, a cool, like, oh, this is what Washington could look like after a nuclear destruction. But also, it's what Washington could look like after a nuclear destruction. So I was like, this is also sad. So I went with Final Fantasy XII Ivalice for the best setting.
Yeah, for me, I went with Portal 2 as the best setting. Because what I thought they did so well was that whole early science-y thing. Like, it's that nuclear era kind of thing where everything was science. And...
yeah, so the lab underneath.
And I thought, like...
yeah, that was awesome.
Exactly, because I thought, like, the whole thing with Cave Johnson narrating and everything was so freaking good. And set a scene that really doesn't have a whole lot of story to it. Like, Portal does not have a huge story to it. But it does it so well. Like, it feels so good. Like, and they did that whole early science nuclear setting better than Fallout 3 did. I'm gonna say it.
Yeah, for sure.
I thought that they did a really good job with the contrast between the eras. Like, you really feel like you're somewhere else. And I think that, like, Portal 2, like, over Portal 1, just because that was, in my opinion, a lot better than the outside of the test chamber part of the lab in Portal 1. But it kind of served a similar narrative function.
Yeah, it's also, like, it's just a cool thing that when you're in this super high-tech area and then you end up in, like, the beginnings down there in the very bottom, and it, like, the like you said, the contrast between the two was very, very cool. So I can see how that would be your best setting for sure.
Plus, the game did just a damn good job of, like, showing instead of telling.
That's it. That's really it. And I will say that, Fallout 3 did a great job, too, with the billboards and, like, the retro memorabilia that you could find around places, and, like, the Nuka-Cola caps being the primary form of currency. Like, I think they did a good job, too, but just for being a somewhat similar setting, I do think that Portal 2 did it better.
I feel like all of us kind of had Fallout 3 in second place here.
Yeah, I think it's close, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, let's do another email, and then let's do our second for the game of the year. So,
okay.
Let's see. Gotta go back. All right, our next email is from one original expendable Jeffy Lube himself. Hello, Steam Machiners.
Was that what we're called?
I guess. If Jeff says so, it must
not
be
Steam
true.
Mechanists? That's true. Trust the gospel of Jeff. I'm
going to make this short and quick. Dalton, Nate, Willie, it's been fun listening to you guys. Mostly about wrestling over in the Patreon and Doom over in the main channel.
We sometimes do a video game
podcast. We're getting red in this email day.
Yeah, I know, right?
As much as I would love to say Phasmophobia was the best episode, thanks to yours truly, I will say our listeners got jokes. I will say some of the best talk is when you guys are doing remedial tasks in ordinary games like Ultimate Fishing Simulator. You need more games like those because they're very relaxing and enjoyable. This is definitely one of the shows I look forward to the most because it provides a nice, relaxing conversation while I sit at my desk at work, have my earbuds in, and just listening to you guys talk away helps the day go by a bit quicker. I look forward to future episodes, and I can't wait to be a guest again. Happy episode almost 100. That's like almost a year. Shout out Tadpog, Tyler, and Dave Play Old Games. That's a reference to that old Dave's Twitch stream. Signed the original Expendable himself, old Jeffy Lube.
Yeah, dude.
We will not send anyone after you with an axe because of this.
Now, he will definitely be back because, hey, that was a great guest hosting that you did on the Phasmophobia episode, Jeff, for real. Like, thank you for the email and thank you for what you do for the community. You're a ridiculous human being, man. And we love you.
There's a chance that we'll be hearing from Jeff next week. I'm not 100% that he wanted to be on Borderlands 1, but I think he did, so I'm going to check with him on that.
We could ping him. I'd be happy to have him. I mean, I've recently really listened to Phasmophobia, and I thought he brought a really fun energy to it that I would definitely enjoy having back.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let me back up that. Okay, so our number 2 for the game of the year. Let's Willie, why don't you go first on this one?
Oh, okay. So I said Trails in the Sky for number 3, right?
Yes.
All right. In that case, I'm going to make my number 2 game of the year Portal 2.
Portal 2?
Good choice.
Okay.
Good choice.
And this is one that is very narrowly won the whole thing. I don't know why. It just sounded so weird in that sentence.
Just peanut butter in your mouth.
Aaron Burr! But I mean, it's just Portal 2 is, I think you already said pretty much exactly this, but it took a game that was a really good game that the only thing you could possibly complain about was that it was a little short and ended right as it was getting good, and gave you a bunch more of that game and every single thing you liked about it. If your favorite thing was the writing and the comedy, it had that. If your favorite thing was the puzzle design, it had that. It had new stuff in all of those flavors. And if you like a goofy vocal song in the end credits, it's even got that.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, Portal 2 could have, I mean, they didn't. There's so many ways they could have disappointed, and they failed to do any of them. Like, it's just every choice they made correct.
It was a triumph. I'm making a note here. Huge success.
One category that we didn't do that would have been a good one would be best graphics, and I would put Portal 2 up there because, like, Portal 2, for being an older game, still looks incredible. Hell, for the fact Portal 1 on a PC still looks really fucking good at 2K resolution on mine.
It's really impressive how well those games held up because, like, as you guys both know, I got my gaming PC, first one I've ever had, at the beginning of this year, and so this was kind of one of the earlier couple games that we played for the show, and I was really super impressed that these looked so good. I expected PlayStation level graphics, and I get this. Come on.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a game that aged really well because they made a lot of great design decisions. Like, honestly, think that it's kind of wild that I don't think we have any visual related questions, but I think it's mainly because it's kind of hard to compare games from 1995 and games from 2015 side by side visuals.
Yeah, for sure. Well then, Nate, what's your number 2, buddy?
Yeah, number 1 and 2 are really hard for me to choose which one went where. I love both of these games so much, and I don't want to spoil the first one, though I think saying the second one's going to tell everybody what the first one is. But number 2 is Hollow Knight. Like we said a little bit earlier, it's such a great value proposition. Like, the fact that there's so much game for so little money involved. Yeah. The game is the best Metroidvania I've ever played, and I've played a lot. The combat is actually really fun in this game. The platforming is smooth, controlled, and good. And it offers you platforming challenges like you've never seen in a Metroidvania before. Like, if you're me, you love it. and the game is just beautiful aesthetically. It's killer, dude. And then the music just goes along with it so well. Like, I have no complaints, not a single complaint about Hollow Knight.
It did aesthetically look really fucking good.
It nails down this feeling of, like, kind of it's a melancholy with a tiny bit of optimism buried underneath, but the tiniest bit of optimism. And the way it expresses that is just so, like, I don't know, really good.
Yeah, definitely is a good choice, man. Mine might be a little bit of a surprise, my number 2. My number 2 for the game of the year is King of Fighters 2002 Ultimate Match.
Oh, wow. At number 2. I dig it.
That is very surprising, though, because I know you never rolled too deep into 2D fighters before, so...
No, and that game reignited a deep love that I have for fighting games. Growing up with Tekken and Mortal Kombat Trilogy and games like that, like I used to play the shit out of them, and then I just fell off of playing fighting games. And playing King of Fighters 2002 Ultimate Match, and especially like that stream that I did, where at that I was like, I'm giving this one more try, and if I don't beat him, I give up. And then I beat Chrysalid there at the end, and I just remember standing up being like, yeah!
It was definitely a good moment.
Flipping out, and
Chrysalid's a real son of a bitch.
And that just sticks with me, man. Like to the point that every now and then I'll go back and load that game up and go, fuck around with Veronica some. And I believe Arcader was the one who told me, or it might have been you, Willie. It was one of the two of you that Veronica's the hardest one to use. The boxing chick is the hardest character to use in the game, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, and that game's so good too because like I think it was like 2 weeks ago, me and Willie were just like, hey, let's just log on to King of Fighters real quick and do a quick fight. Like, out of nowhere, because we felt like it, because we were tired of the other games that we've been playing multiplayer mostly with together. And so like, it's so good. It's so good. Like, I would always load this up if somebody wanted to play it.
Yeah. And
even though we're super casual at it, everything about the way it plays and looks and feels, it came really close to getting my award for best soundtrack, actually, for the music and all that.
For sure.
Like, it's just, it's really good. It's good. It feels good to mess around in, and a lot of times in fighting games, sometimes I feel like bad if I'm not super really great at them, but this one I don't really care. Like, it's just fun.
Yeah.
I feel like I could get super great if I wanted to, but I'd rather just play.
I feel you on that. Like, my competitive streak in some of these fighting type games. Like, you've seen how well I do in Smash Brothers and Brawlhalla. Like, I could put the time and effort into it, but at the same time, it's like, I just want to have fun with this one. And that's kind of feeling with Mortal Kombat 11 right now, too. But, like, just have fun. It's a good time.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. Well, gentlemen, what did you have for the most fun game of the year?
Most fun episode, yeah.
Or, I'm sorry, most fun episode.
Yeah. Because I think those are two different things. I don't have most fun game, but I do have most fun episode.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
And this should be no surprise. Like, I had such a good time with everything about Phasmophobia. It was a blast hanging out with Jeff, bringing him into the mix for the episode. And, like, the funny thing about it is I was a little worried about it. I'm not going to lie to you, because, like, you bring somebody new in, you wonder how the chemistry is going to be. And, like, I know we hang out with Jeff and Game Buds and all that, but recording a podcast is different, as you guys both know. Yeah. But Jeff was an absolute treat, man. He brought his own, like, special flair to the game and the episode, and just, like, brought laughs to both, too. Like, the episode and the game itself. Like, Jeff was hilarious. It's such a good time to be around. And, like, we still all get together and play this game, so it has a special place in our hearts.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Mine, so I looked at this as the most fun game, but as the most fun episode, I'm going to agree with Phasmophobia, but I'm also going to give a special shout out to the Trails spoiler cast that I did with James. That one was really fun to do. But the way I answered this was, what game did I think I had the most fun playing? And it came down to Phasmophobia because of the co-op nature with the crew and all of that. But like as a single player experience, Total War Warhammer 2 was mine. Just going into a massive ass battle and commanding your army and just watching the chaos unfold, whereas I sent in my dinosaur looking things and they were grabbing gnolls and swinging them around and throwing them into the air and stuff. Like, brutal. I loved it. It was good stuff. So yeah, I'll give it to Phasmo, but if we're going game, then I'm gonna go Total War Warhammer.
All right. Let's see. I had a tie here. I think the one I had the most fun from the preparation for was Doom 2. I said I wouldn't give Doom 2 any game awards, but I think this is separate. One, this was the first time working on a podcast. Like, I'd never recorded a well, I recorded something that was kind of like a podcast before we had the word podcast, but it was like a little internet comedy radio show me and a couple friends put together for like 4 episodes. But this, I'd never done like a modern podcast, and like I've loved watching you guys stream your first experience of this game. It's like a game that I've been playing for forever and I love, and I wanted to see what people saw that hadn't had these levels go through past their eyes a million times, you know?
Yeah.
It was fun seeing like what the sticking point was, what stuff was more obvious. Both of you finding the backpack on the gauntlet that I'd never found before because I'd never had to backtrack there because I just knew the route forward. Like it was a really fun experience, and I have a tie for that too. And that tie is the Halloween games.
That was fun. That was a lot of fun.
A blast.
That was just a really fun one to put together because it just was very different. And despite the fact that we actually worked really hard on that episode, it felt like one of the lower stress ones to put together anyway.
Yeah. I think it's because it was just a bunch of little bite-sized things that we covered, you know?
Yeah, I mean, but we really completed the hell out of a lot of it too. It's not like we, slacked off on it. Like, I think we worked harder on that episode than most.
I would
episodes.
agree with that. Like, 'cause there's only like a couple of those games that I didn't beat, and one of them because I got trolled by the game itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, that game that Adam sent us, the Sinking City, is a Cthulhu-based mythos type game.
Sinking City, that makes sense. Yeah.
I didn't consider that. Okay.
When he sent that, I was like, bro, have you played Dagon? And he's like, no. Nice. I said, bro, it's on Steam and free. Go fucking play it. It's awesome. I was like, it's a little interactive story. It's tremendous.
Yeah, he'd enjoy that for sure then.
Yeah, it was cool how the games had such ups and downs too, and it got to be both, like, I don't know, like, I know that I don't always do super heavy research like on every episode, but that was one of the ones that was really research forward for me, and I just really enjoyed getting a sense of the history of this subgenre.
Yeah, and that was one that I like. That was still when I was kind of in the middle of my hiatus, working to come out of it, and so like I didn't put in the effort to put the games together like you guys did. So I just got to go in and play all these games that y'all sent me links to, and I was just like, this is awesome.
It was really fun just finding these games too, because there were a couple that I knew I wanted to do from the start. Like I'd mentioned them by name when I first floated the idea of the episode, but like some of them were just ones that like I'm floating down the list. I'm like, this game is based on the Blair Witch Project. It has PlayStation 1 style graphics and was made for a game jam. Yeah, that's going in the shopping cart.
Yeah, for sure. And there was a few games that we didn't cover that I ended up playing days
most
after.
Disappointingly, the SCP Unity game that we just didn't end up having time and getting it work because we couldn't get the original Containment Breach to work.
Yeah, and that was one of them. And there was another one that was like, shit, I don't even remember the names of them, but I have them on. They're free on Steam, so maybe we'll cover those next year or something.
Oh, absolutely! Like I really think that we should do Halloween month every month.
That was a good month.
It was a good month. Up next, let's do best voice acting.
Okay.
Now, who would like to go first for this one?
I'll jump in on this one. So for me, the best voice acting was Portal 1. The fact that Ellen McLean was able to do so much as the only voice actor in that game, don't give me the stuff about the anger cube. Like, she was the only voice actor in that game. And oh my God, she was incredible. Like, we didn't need any more. She did enough all by herself. Like, it was fantastic. Like, don't get me wrong, Portal 2 wasn't no slouch either, with like J.K. Simmons as Cave Johnson, Stephen Merchant as Wheatley were both great. But all we needed in that first game was Ellen McLean as GLaDOS. That's all we needed, and it worked so well.
That's completely on point. I ended up going with Portal 2 after really considering what you just said. Like, that was one of the ways I could have gone with it. I ended up liking the expanded cast just because, again, I think Cave Johnson is completely one of the all-time performances in any video game. So that put it over the hill for me. But I also wanted to give an honorable mention to Full Throttle, because that game had a fully professional voice cast, and way before that was an expected thing to do in games.
Yeah, fair.
Mine was So I did it as a singular person who did it, but I'll name the game that it's from because I do enjoy everyone. So this came in right at the wire. We'll hit this at the very beginning of the year. Cyber Dimension Neptunia, Four Goddesses Online. I love those characters so goddamn much, and their voice actors, their English voice actors at least, crack me up. With a special shout out to Melissa Fawn, who does the voice of Neptune. Like, dude, I know you guys haven't played them, so you don't know like what I'm talking about, but the way that those characters, like, you can feel that they're all kind of friends, but then also rivals, and they like have a love for each other, and they joke around with each other, and they're like, Neptune is constantly breaking the fourth wall, and it's just hilarious. And Melissa Fawn does a great job as Nep, so I give it to her, and I'll give it to that game. And fun fact, a lot of people say that game is like overly sexualizes the characters sometimes, but I want to say that game was created by a woman, and she said that she created it to have the main characters all be girls and all be like girl power type stuff. And her defense is, I like to look sexy sometimes. Why can't my characters look sexy sometimes? So, I don't know. I read that. I felt a little better about it. But there's nothing... It's not Sinran Kagura level gratuitous, though. You know what I mean? So, anyway. But yeah, I give it to Cyber Dimension Neptunia for best voice acting.
Nice. It's a cool pick. I was definitely not thinking of, like, anime-style voice acting. I was definitely thinking more, like, Western traditional stuff.
Let's see...
I mean, if we're thinking about the anime-type stuff, too, I mean, I think the voices in Dragon Quest XI did really well, too.
Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, it was very exaggerated performances, but I like that the localization is very British sounding. But they had a lot of accents going on in that game.
Yeah, really shout-outs in that game to the characters, like the voice actors that played Sylvando, obviously. Dave was hilarious, too.
Dave.
And I loved Hendrik a lot, too. I thought his voice actor did a really good job.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah, and then you have Eric from Brooklyn. Which is so random, but it fit his character somehow.
And Veronica's voice actor was really good, too.
That's definitely the voice that sticks in my head the most, for sure.
What did you... Let's do best story and best writing, and then we'll roll into another email.
Sounds good.
So, for best story, I was going to give it to Trails in the Sky, but I didn't. And that's because I've only seen the first half of that story.
Oh, that's kind of true, yeah.
It
is only first chapter.
I want to finish the story before I can really piece together what I truly feel about it. So I gave best story to Tales of Berseria. Because just like I said earlier, you know, Velvet is an awesome character, and what I said with the best villain being Arturius, like, the story that is told in Berseria is tremendous. I'm trying to think about how I could say this without giving away too many spoilers for it. It's like you get your comeuppance in a way that is so satisfying that it makes the time that you put into the game worth it. There, I'll put it that way. Really fucking good. Play Tales of Berseria, goddamn.
Keep that in mind. So I guess for my best story, kind of a little bit different than you, because like it's actually a game that I didn't get very far in, one that I wish that I had gotten a lot further in. But for me, I think the game with the best story that I saw so far was Fallout 3. I really thought that all the different arcs and lines that were available, it really felt satisfying to progress. Like, there's little story elements, like when you go to Mettaton and you meet Mr. Burke. Like, just that whole little... Knowing what you've told me is one way Mr. Burke can go versus how I took Mr. Burke. It's just like, there's two entirely different arcing stories there that I thought was really pretty neat to hear about. And just knowing that there's a lot of stuff like that throughout the course of the game, I think they deserve a lot of credit for being able to write a story where your decisions actually seem to matter a little bit.
Yeah, branching narrative is always really cool, especially when it's executed well.
And I will say, like I think I said it on the episode, the way that they handle narrative and branching things like that in Fallout 3 is way better than even in more modern games like Skyrim.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I think we touched on that where it's like, you know, Fallout 3 is a good RPG with some shooter elements, but then you have games like Fallout 4, which are shooter games with some RPG elements. Skyrim's the same way. Mm-hmm. Morrowind was more of an RPG than Skyrim is more of an action game. Yeah, for sure. What about you, Willie?
I had a little trouble with this one. I wrote something down and I don't even agree with it.
It was a hard question for me to answer as well.
Well, the problem I'm having with making this one is that a lot of the games we had good writing, but very few of them had very deep stories.
Yeah.
I wrote down Dragon Quest XI because it had a really epic and sweeping story, but it's also, it does pick up and get more complicated later on in it, but like the basic arc is fairly straightforward.
No, I actually completely agree with that. Like, I love Dragon Quest XI. I don't think story is its strongest suit. Like,
yeah, I think it's a great collection of scenes and places, but I don't think as an overall narrative it has a really strong one. I hadn't finished all of Trails yet either. I haven't even finished all of Trails FC yet, so that one could be the clubhouse leader. But I think I'm gonna go off script and actually give it to one based on story implications and what it did with what it was given. I don't think Doom 2016 had to have good writing at all. Like, they could have made a completely stupid game, and instead they really figured out a way to celebrate the existing series while, doing a lot of really creative things with it. And I'm mainly going on what I know from interpretations of the story instead of firsthand experiencing it. But, like, the way that they integrated, like, the question of, what games are canon and all that into it, and rebuild, our old Doom guy as this Doom Slayer character who has a personality somehow despite never being seen. Like, it's really interesting, and I think I'm going to give Best Story to Doom just because, like, it didn't have to have a good story.
I dig it.
Random. I would love to see a mashup where, like, and make it a co-op game where the worlds of Doom and Halo meet up. And then you can go through co-op. One of you plays as Doom guy, one of you plays as Master Chief, and you just go in and fuck shit up.
That'd be fun.
Like, I think that would be rad. Because they look kind of similar. You know what I mean? Like,
I think we should send those two and Samus in and just have them be the badass armored bounty hunters.
You put in a controller code and unlock BJ Blazkowicz or whatever.
Yeah, there you go.
I love it.
Yeah. And then there's your 4-player co-op.
And then if you have the really super
Samus
special code, you can unlock James Bond from GoldenEye 007.
Nice.
And you just throw shoes at people. Oh no, that wasn't James Bond. That was
Austin
Oddjob.
Powers. That was random.
Oh, that was
test.
Austin Powers.
My favorite scene of James Bond was definitely the one with the penis pump. Come on, man.
I mean, that just goes to show, like, I liked Austin Powers way more than I liked James Bond. Oh, man. Best writing. Who would like to go first? You want me to go first? You guys want to go first?
Why don't you take a crack at going first, Dalton?
All right. Best writing. I wanted to give this to West of Loathing so bad.
I could really justify that, yeah.
I really wanted to, because that game is fantastic, but dude, I had to give it to Stick of Truth, because Matt and Trey, you cannot beat Matt and Trey. Like, that game is fucking hilarious. And it's a great RPG too, which is fucking wild that, like, you think South Park games from back in the day and you're like, yeah. And then they came out with Stick of Truth. And the best part of Stick of Truth was that the studio had this game, and then Matt and Trey went in there and looked at it, and they went, man, that looks awesome. Can you make it look shittier? Because it looks too good for South Park.
Awesome.
Like, South Park has a certain aesthetic, and that's why they were like, bet. And when you play Stick of Truth and then The Fractured Butthole, they literally look like you're just playing episodes of South Park. And
yeah, I'm really impressed by how those games get across the South Park feeling.
Yeah, and
those of us who grew up with shitty Simpsons NES games,
I really want Fractured Butthole to come up at some point.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I really think we'd all enjoy that. And then, speaking of Simpsons, I would like to find a working copy of Hit and Run and see if we can't do that for the show one day. Because I know it came out on PC, but it's not for sale anywhere, so I might check some abandonware sites.
I've seen that come up a lot lately, of people reminiscing about games they like, and Hit and Run has come up a lot lately. And I vaguely remember it a little bit, too. And it's a pretty cool little game.
Yeah, it was Simpsons Grand Theft Auto, basically. And then I also had Simpsons Road Rage, which was just Crazy Taxi, but with Simpsons characters. And that game was a blast, too. But yeah, best writing, Stick of Truth.
Okay. I don't think I'm going to be breaking any new journalistic ground with this one. When we covered this game, I said it was the first video game to ever have good writing, as in not good writing for a video game, but good writing. It's Portal.
That's what I have.
Well, there you go. I'm curious, listeners, when you listen to this, tally up which games got the most awards, because I'd be interested to see.
I'm really feeling like right now Trails and Portal and Dragon Quest are probably
up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, Portal, man. I can't disagree with that with either of you. Like, that game's witty as shit. And like and I'll even include Portal 2 in that as well with the
absolutely.
Was it this is the part where I kill you. This is the part where he kills us. Chapter 9. This is the part where he kills you. Steam achievement. This is the chapter he kills you.
So good. God, that was a highlight of that game, because like it only worked because this was like Valve, because they knew that was going to be on Steam. They knew they could throw that achievement to pop up in tandem with all that. And it was brilliant touch.
Yeah, absolutely. Fucking great. Let's do a quick email, gentlemen.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this one comes in from...
Don't let us talk too much.
Comes in from Kana.
All right.
And Kana just gave us some RPG stuff.
Nice.
So
awesome.
Of course,
yeah.
Of course, like the theme. Dalton is a bard. I'll take it. Willie is the berserker. Rip and tear a la Doom Marine and his love of Doom.
Love it.
I feel like I've been cast so differently in each one of them, and none of them are wrong.
These are great. I love how different they've cast you so far.
Yeah, they're all great.
Nate is a healer, utilizing the power of slime hugs and the magic of shutter shades.
That's adorable. I love that so much. I was like, healer, where we go with this? That is so good.
He was referencing some of Nate's Twitch stream memes. I love it.
Yeah, I love it. All right, let's get this one out of the way. The worst game of the year.
It could only be two, right? It could only be two.
There are two choices for this, and
I have a two-way tie between what you guys think it is.
All right, I'll go first. My worst game of the year was Blair Witch. And it bothers me because I expected so much from that game, hearing people talk it up. And I just wanted so much more from it. I was there for the horror aspect, but the whole mental health thing added in, I just didn't feel like it needed. Although I understand, like, there's games like Senua's Sacrifice that apparently handle mental health and stuff like that really well in the narrative. And it fits. But here's the thing. I didn't feel like it fit in Blair Witch.
Mm-hmm. No, I think all it did was obfuscate whether what you're seeing counts as scary or not.
Yeah, and not to mention, I spent most of the time in Blair Witch just running down, pointing my flashlight at the ground where I was walking to see where I was going. So I didn't even see any, like, scary things pop up. I don't know. I just wanted more from it. So I'm going to give it my worst game of the year is Blair Witch.
Yeah, I'll concur with that. Like, it was one of the ones that I was, like, really looking forward to playing because I saw it coming up in the polls. I was like, yeah, I want to play this because we haven't done a horror game for the show yet. And like you said, it was just like darkness simulator. The scariest things that you really have happen, unless you make it deep into the game like Willie did, apparently, is like you run into like the little stick figures you got to reach up and destroy or whatever. And this game just made some of the free horror games we played look like masterpieces.
Kind of surprised you didn't give it to SCP-087 or whatever it was.
I kind of thought about it, but like you can't. Like, it was a bad game that cost me like maybe an hour of my life. This one wanted like 10 of my hours.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, to be fair, the game didn't work, which is a different kind of bad from a game not being good at all. Like, I have this written down as a tie between the other game we didn't say, but it's obviously Duke Nukem Manhattan Project. I have it as a tie between that and Blair Witch, but the more I think about Duke Nukem Manhattan Project was basically a low ceiling effort in the first place, so I didn't have high hopes for it. Whereas this could have been something. I don't know. I think I was just the disappointment on Blair Witch wins, but I wrote down like neither of these games was great. But both of them made recording this podcast way less fun for everyone than it needed to be. Like, these games made us have less joy in our lives.
Yeah, it was nice to have them come and go for sure.
So I guess we need to apologize to Mike for shitting on Blair Witch again.
Yeah. Yes, sorry.
I mean, I'm not saying it's anyone else's problem for enjoying. I'm not even saying there aren't good parts of Blair Witch. Like, again, the dog was awesome. I loved the dog, and not only having a dog in a game, haha, it's so cute because I have a dog. But like, I thought the dog's mechanics were some of the most interesting parts of the game.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunately, if you want to make a really writing-based horror game, you have to hire writers.
I think one of my favorite parts of Blair Witch was that you had the old school 90s cell phone.
Yes, the aesthetic was really good too.
But you could play Snake on it. So you could pull up Snake and just sit there, and it's like you're just standing in the woods and you're just playing Snake on your cell phone. There's people dying all around you probably, and you're just like,
Snake.
Oh man, I ran into my tail, gotta start over.
I haven't liked the camcorder a lot too, except for the corny thing where you use it to magically turn back time.
That was so dumb.
Yeah, that
was
there's
odd. There are a lot of really smart like if you only saw 5 minutes of this game, you might have a really good you might be like, all right, this is going to be tight, and then you never play it again. You'll have got your money's worth then. But no, otherwise it's the worst game we played this year.
All right, gentlemen, the best game that you sucked at. I'll start this one. Hollow Knight.
Yeah, that is fair. I remember your struggles.
I had a blast with it, but that game kicked my dick in the dirt. Hardcore. And I don't know if I'll ever go back and beat it because of how bad it kicked my dick in the dirt, but I had a blast playing it. And I don't know, that's a weird conundrum to have, I know, but it's a fun ass game. It's just fucking hard.
I mean, I think that speaks measures to it as well, though, that it beat the crap out of you and was super tough, but you still enjoyed playing it.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel the same way about Cuphead, to be honest with you. Kicked my fucking ass, but it was fun. But I definitely give that to Hollow Knight for sure.
For me, I think the best game that I sucked at was Graveyard Keeper. And, I fully acknowledge that the game seems great. It's just not for me. It's not for a gamer like me. I suck at it because I don't have the attention span for it. I think otherwise it's a fantastic game, and I would recommend it to people who enjoy that type of game. I just couldn't. And that's not on the game. That's on me as a gamer.
And we talked about it last week, dude, but I am in love with just the visual aesthetic of Graveyard Keeper and how it looks.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. It's fucking so good.
I've had some of the music from it stuck in my head for a little while, just the going into the village music. And I'm like, where's that from? Because it's kind of melancholy enough. I'm like, is that some Hollow Knight or Dark Souls? No, it's from a Harvest Moon game. What the heck?
What about you, Willie? What was your best game that you sucked at?
Sorry, my connection dropped for a moment. I hope the last line got through.
Yep.
Okay. My best game that I sucked at, I honestly felt like I put in a pitiful performance against Doom 4. I really got whooped in that game a lot of the time. I went in really cocky because of my Doom 2 skills. But, I'm a little worried when Doom Eternal comes up because I know it gets harder and you have to get even better at juggling all the cooldowns and stuff.
And Doom Eternal has some platforming elements to it, too.
I feel like Doom 4 did, too, though.
I mean, it had the double jump boots and all that, but Doom Eternal has the grappling hook on your shotgun.
Yeah. Yeah. I hate the band, but when you said, I thought I was going to be good at Doom 4 because my Doom 2 skills, my brain went, welcome to the new age,
I just got boomered by a 2016 shooter. It's okay.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's a good choice, dude. Doom kicked my ass, too,
rough.
But, man, that was a fun fucking game.
I want to...
That's another...
I'd like to go back to it and maybe play it on easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like... I picked Ultra Violence, and I still feel like I may have been out of my league.
All right, let's...
I was cocky because the difficulty names are all shifted up because Nightmare isn't the ridiculous mode. Ultra Nightmare is the ridiculous mode. So I thought Ultra Violence is basically medium. I'll be fine. I wasn't necessarily
I'm gonna go
fine.
back and play it on Please Don't Hurt Me.
What was this year's most relaxing game? Willie, let's... Yeah, Nate, I agree. But Willie, let's let you go first. I think me and Nate have the same answer.
Uber Marsh Omega. I'm just kidding. It's Ultimate Fishing Simulator, y'all. This is a cakewalk.
Okay, yeah. I think we're all three in agreement on that one. That that game is the epitome of just kick back, relax, and bullshit with your friends, catch some fish.
Yeah. Yep, I don't think there's much that needs to be said about it. Like, we got to listen to some great 80s tunes together, chat, and catch some bass.
I'll say there were some really cozy moments in Trails and Dragon Quest XI too, though, and those did go through my head. But I think ultimately, like, just Ultimate Fishing Simulator was just every playing experience of it was so pleasant, and I mean, I don't know, it was.
And I could see people getting like most relaxing game out of like Graveyard Keeper as well, and like you were saying, like some JRPGs. Like one of my biggest go-to relax games these days has been Pokemon Shining Pearl, and I'm about to go back to Pokemon Shield because I just find those games super relaxing too.
Yeah. I was just thinking to myself that I need to beat Shield, and it's like, I need to put my Switch by my bed so when I'm laying there at night watching YouTube, I can just like grab it and put in a couple, maybe an hour into Switch the Pokemon before I go to bed. For sure. All right. Well, since we were all pretty much in agreement on that one, let's do another email, gentlemen.
Yeah.
This one came in from Tux Deluxe.
Hey, Tux.
Thank you, Tux.
He says, "Happy 22, guys." Wow, happy 22. Happy 2022, guys. My favorite memory from last year was definitely listening to you all talk about the exciting weapons in Doom 2016. You are so knowledgeable about video games and badassery that you can describe it terrifically well, and I look forward to hearing your take two. I look forward to hearing your thoughts and other cool games in the coming year.
Yeah, thanks, Tux.
I hope we get cool games.
I feel like we've burned a lot of good games this year because we got really lucky on these randomizers. But I also think this
is an insane list of games. So this is an insane list of games. You have it all written down what we had played this year, and it's real.
But I also feel like, though, since we implemented the short pull and long pull, that the listeners have not let us down. Like, they've always had their finger on the trigger of the fun games. They haven't tried to put a crappy game in front of us like, haha, screw these guys. They've had our best interests at heart for the most part.
Yeah, and, like, I thought about this when I first started, too, and I had this conversation with Ryan about Tadpog doing the randomizer for the Super Nintendo games. Like, but here's the thing is that, like, we're only pulling from games that I have put money forward towards or, gotten in bundles or whatever. So most of the games, like, I bought because I thought that they were going to be good.
Yeah.
So luckily, most of the shitty games that we're going to end up playing are stuff that just showed up in bundles and things like that. And that's if they ever win a poll. You know what I mean? The listeners could either stick with it and keep giving us awesome shit to play, or if they ever wanted to troll us one week, like, they definitely could.
Yeah. Because I definitely don't even think they were trolling us with a game like Blair Witch. I think they thought it would be as fun as we did, as we thought it would be.
Yep.
I think we actually kind of talked it up,
Yeah.
Like, I think we kind of tried to lead but, like, now, ever since the polling season has started, I feel like we've gotten a lot fewer Dragon, a game about a dragons.
Oh, God. Well, no, Dragon came from a poll. Yeah.
Did it?
Yeah.
When did we start the poll, then?
That came from a very early poll, though. Very early.
Yeah, I think that was, like, maybe the first one or something, because I'm looking at the list now, list of games now.
And honestly, that game, the name is great. Dragon, a game about a dragon. And the visual aesthetic is awesome. Little, like, crayon colored shit was
if
cool.
You just look at the name and a screenshot of the game, you're like, yeah, this looks like fun. I think I voted for Dragon.
Yeah. I think I did. I think I stumped for it. I think I literally was like, we should play this. This is good. This all looks awesome. It's a neat style. And I mean, most of my problems with it are coding mechanical related rather than it was
that level design.
That could have been
it didn't bad level design, but it didn't really enter our thought process for worst game of the year either.
I didn't even think about it, but like thinking about it now, it probably could be number 3 or 4 on that list.
I had a fun bonus round if we ever get around to the end and we still have time left, but there's a couple of these games that aren't going to win any awards, and I think it might be fun to hit a couple of them at the end that we didn't give any award to, and just each of us come up with a made-up award for them.
I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that.
Because I just said Dragon, a game about Dragon, and that immediately made me think, we have some things to say about that, even if it wasn't the game of the year. It had some interesting things in it,
Yeah. What would you consider to be your most addictive game of the year? Like the one that you just couldn't put down. I had a tie for this. I want to go ahead and say that.
I have one that sticks out big for me, Because I still play it. I said it earlier. I still play Ultimate Fishing Simulator all the time. I'm addicted to that game. That is the one I'm stuck with. That's the one I'm going to keep playing. I'm probably going to keep playing it all through 2022.
Yeah, I mean, I literally, if we're just chatting around and we're waiting for something to happen, I will see his name on Steam start playing Ultimate Fishing Simulator. Like, I'm just going to do this for 30 minutes till everyone gets together with whatever they were doing.
Yeah. What about you, Willie?
Honestly, the only reason I didn't play more of these games was just because they made my hands hurt. But, like, Ubermosh was one more game until my hand was too numb to keep playing it.
Yeah, that was a very, very much a one more round, one more game type thing. Yeah, for sure. So I can agree with that. Mine was a tie, like I said, between Ultimate.
If I had to pick a specific one, I think I'm just going to go with 5 because 5 Omega was a little bit more stressful. I think I liked Omega the best out of all of them, but 5 was probably the most perfectly made one.
Oh man, I can't remember the name of the one that I liked the best. Was it Sanctified or something like that? Sanctified, yeah. But all of them, like in their own way, were really good. But I give you that 5 was fun as fuck.
Yeah, I loved 5.
And probably the most polished, even though it wasn't the newest. Like,
it struck the best balance because the last 2 kind of had the small screen came back and it was really maybe too intense.
Hey, let's see if he puts out a new one soon.
Yes,
my most addictive game was a tie, like I said, between Ultimate Fishing Simulator, because for everything that Nate said, and King of Fighters 2002
Nice.
Ultimate Match. Because I just kept finding myself being like, no, I can beat him next time. No, I can beat Grizzled next time. No, I can get it. I can get this next time. And you just keep trying until, like you said, my fucking thumbs were sore for days from all of just the trying to, especially the D-pad thumb.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, it was raw.
I like it raw.
But oh baby, I like it raw.
raw.
But yeah, fucking fantastic game. Best value for time and money. I went ahead and with this one, I put Dagon.
Fair.
It's free, and for about an hour and a half, maybe a little less than that. It's just a really good, well put together story. Now, if I were going to pick a game that actually costs money, I'd go Creevers. Because that game was wild good for $5.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of ways that you could land on this, because I think that a game that costs a little bit more, but I think is a great value for time and money, like Hollow Knight. And then there's, like you said, Creever is a great value for your money. But I think the one that really stands out for me in that category would be any of the Ubermosh games. I mean, get it on sale, you pay 49 cents for a video game, and you can play it forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they are very, I feel like they're games that you don't really ever feel like you're quite done with. You can always get a little bit better. You know, it's like Galaga. You never go, well, I beat Galaga.
And the funny thing about Ubermosh is it's one of those games, like when we got done with it, I was like, I really like this for the episode. I'm never going to go back and play it, most likely. I've gone back and played it.
Yeah. That dude, it's just good, quick fun. Very quick, you know what I mean? It's like you don't have to dedicate a ton of time to it, but you, at the same time, it is really easy to dedicate a lot of time to it. Yeah.
All right. For this category, most value for time and money, I felt like they delivered a really polished experience that you could replay. You don't have to, but it's very respectful of your time. Just a clean, simple Metroid experience. I really enjoyed Gato Roboto.
Gato Roboto is a good one. And that game's another one that's like not super expensive, and it's just a blast to play.
It's just one of those games that it promises and delivers the correct amount.
All right. Let's do the last email, and then we'll cover these last few categories. Then we'll roll into our number ones.
Sounds good.
And all of that, and then but before we do the number ones, we'll do the draws.
Yeah.
So we'll do that. All right. So our final email came in today from Arcader, and he says, "Hi, you Steam Machine. RK writing. Love the show.
Hi.
Was wondering." Now this is a little different than the other emails. Let me just go ahead and throw that out there. I was wondering, I know you guys primarily talk about video games, but are there maybe plans or ideas to try out other media, like tabletop games, Dungeons & Dragons, Pathfinder, or perhaps a section or two on like anime or TV, books, manga, or something still on video games, perhaps maybe try playing genres that maybe you've never tried before, like a visual novel or a simulation game, And or maybe even just talking about a game that you think hasn't been talked about enough. Love to know what you guys think. Have a good day. Have a good one, RK.
It's a great question, and I have a few answers for a few of those things.
Yeah.
First off, I've never played a visual novel, so when Doki Doki Literature Club Plus comes up, be ready for that episode because that's probably going to be pretty wild. Because I'm the guy that's never played any kind of visual novel. Should be really interesting. As far as some of those other kind of subjects go, I feel like we do an okay job of peppering in some of those things. Like, probably need to talk a little bit more about anime during like our intros and stuff. But interesting, Dalton was actually talking about running a D&D campaign not too long ago that we might put up on the Patreon. Dalton, you want to speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, so I've been trying to like hash out for like a few years how to do a proper tabletop game based in the Mortal Kombat universe. And I think that would be really fucking fun to do. It would be really fun for me to DM, I know that much. So I've been hashing that out, and once I do figure that out, and basically I'm just looking for a good rule set to use with it, and maybe like some character builds for people to use as basis, or anything of the sort. But I will start putting more active energy into figuring that stuff out, so we can possibly get that up for a Patreon thing, because that would be really fun to do. And I fucking love tabletop games. Like D&D is my shit. I love it. I've always had a blast playing it. And as far as the section or two on things like anime and TV shows, that is another thing. Eventually and I hate to say that I'm going to put it on the Patreon, because if you don't subscribe to that, it's just $1 a month. But I am going to do the cover Star Wars at some point. I still have that on the horizon. I'm just not rushing to do it because I don't want to rush through the series or anything like that. So, but that's another thing that I've got on the plans.
And also, if you ever have a question for us that you'd like us to answer on the show, send an email in. We will get to it, because we would love to get more and more emails from you guys. So if you want to ask our opinions on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, I'm sure Willie could talk your ear off for 15 minutes on that.
Yeah, for sure.
But also, like, I don't know if you meant like covering other stuff in the sense that we like usually talk a little bit about pro wrestling or a couple like music a little bit on every episode, or if you meant like just kind of do an episode about something other than a video game. But like, we do have a main list episode that's only barely about a video game. The one we did, the second part of the second part of Trails, where it's basically not even the second part of Trails. It's like 45 minutes of reports on YouTube channels,
Yeah, you're right.
I don't really see any reason why. I mean, I would really enjoy getting a couple more like guest or host choice things, because I feel like a lot of the ones we've done as audibles have come out really well. And I don't see any reason why every single one of them has to be a Steam game. I mean, as long as that's the main thing we focus on in the podcast. I agree with
that as well.
And it could be, like 1 week, instead of doing a short game in between, we just
talk about King of the Hill.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, that sounds great, actually.
You know what I'm saying?
Maybe it would be fun to have like just a normal mainline episode where maybe we pick up a wrestling game, we don't have much to say, so we all get like download WrestleMania 30 and watch it and report back on that or some shit. I don't know. Yeah, because I have access. All that shit's on Peacock, so we could definitely work that out. Yeah, we'll figure it out. But I just picked an event at random. I don't remember. 30 was a good one.
But seriously, send us emails. Let us know if there's something you want us to talk about. Like, we will be happy to get to some of that. Like, no guarantees or anything, but we'll do what we can.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I like digressions and stuff, so I don't think they all have to be in the Patreon section or whatever. Like, I would actually enjoy putting more. Like, I mean, as long as we keep the main focus as a video game podcast, because that's what the show's called and all. Like, I'd be really happy to just. I like just chatting with you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm not opposed to that. So it's a good question, man. Maybe it'll bring about some new things. But yeah, like Nate said, if you have any suggestions, you just want to ask us something, or hell, you want to just like fucking tell us about something that happened to you that you think that maybe we'll riff on, fucking send us an email, hit one of us with a DM on Discord, like just get a hold of us, dude. Like, we try to be as open and chatty with the listeners as possible. To
be honest, I've always wanted to do a mailbag segment on this show. It's just we don't get enough emails to make it a regular thing. But, like, I love hearing from people. Like, it makes me feel really awesome that so many people wrote in and told us how they felt about the show and what they enjoyed. And, like, if you guys have questions, like, we're here for y'all as entertainment,
Yep, for sure. Here to serve you guys. All right. This next category is going to be a little different from what I put down to what you guys put down, I think. My category is episode that I did alone that I hated the least. And it's a tie.
A tie?
It's a tie. Because I enjoyed doing 2 episodes a lot.
I think I know what they are. I think I have a guess, but I'm going to let you have it.
I really enjoyed West of Loathing. Doing that one because, like everything we've mentioned earlier, the game is just tremendous, and it's another one of those games that's like $20 and well worth $19.99. You know what I mean? If you catch it on sale, it's even better. But the other episode is Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth that I really enjoyed doing. Oh. Now, that episode has a caveat because that is also the episode that I announced that Ryan would no longer be on the show as a permanent host. So, like, that one was a little weird, but I also look at that as like my sink or swim episode. Yeah. Does that make sense? Like, okay, if I'm going to have to do this on my own, how's it going to work? You know, all of that. And luckily you guys came along and like helped me, you know, not have to do that quite so much. But the fact that I put out Digimon and people enjoyed it even after I was like, it's just going to be me for a while and people kept listening, that made me feel really good. So that holds a special place in my heart.
Yeah, well deserved too. Like you put in the effort on that for sure, and I'm happy you kept doing it.
Cheers. Now, I think y'all's category is a little different. It's what episode was your favorite that you weren't on, I think. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, the favorite episode that I was not on was King of Fighters 2002 Unlimited Match. Like, I know I played it with you guys, but
thank you.
I didn't appear on that episode because, like, I don't know why. But that was one of the early ones where we were cashing out the host responsibilities and stuff. So I just wasn't on that one. But that was a good episode, and being able to play that game, too, along with you guys was a blast. So, a good episode, guys.
For sure, for sure. What about you, Willie?
So I have a 2-way tie. I wanted to say I really enjoyed Creevers, actually. I'd had a really rough week that week and couldn't record, and the fact that you guys put that together so quickly, and then it was a blast of an episode to listen to. Like, you guys found so much fun stuff in that game, and just like, there was a real genuine enjoyment, and I didn't feel like you guys really suffered for me not being there at all. Like, I still remember how much fun you guys had reading off achievement names and things like that. Just really good memory.
Game. It was a really good game, and it was a fun episode. Like, obviously, it would have been great if you could have played and been on there with us, but we wouldn't have played Creevers if you could have been on that episode. So,
yeah, that's true. It would have been.
It ended up working out really well.
Full Throttle, I think, maybe. I don't remember what it was that we did instead, but
yeah, it was Full Throttle.
It was good shit, man. Well,
and then I also want to tie that with King's Quest, because I absolutely loved the fact that you guys played different editions of the game by total accident.
Man, I didn't know how to react to that when we started the episode, when we were getting ready to record, and I started talking about
stuff.
Ryan's like...
That one could have been a total disaster, but you guys brought it together, and like, I thought that you had different perspectives, you know, in part because you played different games, but in part just because you, like, kind of took different approaches to what you did in the game, too. Like, I don't know. I really enjoyed that one. That was a really fun episode. I liked, you know, and it was cool too because like you got into the history of the series, but you also got into like the nitty gritty with like individual puzzles in that game and stuff too, and like plot elements. Like, I think you two just did really good coverage of that game, and I felt like, you know, I've never been as much of a point and click adventure game as like a text only adventure game guy. So like there was a lot I didn't know about that game, and I felt like I learned a lot of cool stuff.
Oh, cool! I'm glad to hear that, man. I'm glad to hear that. I had fun doing the King's Quest stuff. That game is great. At least the remake. I haven't played the originals yet, but the remake was really good. All right. This is our final category before we get down to the nitty-gritty, gentlemen. Best games we played not for the show. I have 3.
Oh, we could have more than one? I only wrote down 1.
I don't think I wrote down any. I think you guys added this category late. I forgot to do anything, so I'm going to look down my library real quick.
Okay, well then I'll go first while you guys think a little bit if you want. The 3 that and you don't have to have 3. It's just I wrote down 3. My first one is Judonia. Really fucking
updating Steam.
A really fucking fun, just open world. It's almost like a sandbox RPG. It's developed by one dude. And just the amount of effort that he's put into that game, like from when I bought it, when it was in early access, it's still in early access, but it has come a long way since I got it. And I'm very impressed because, you know, sometimes you get stuff in early access and they've been either like abandoned or they don't update very often, but no, this one, dude, updates it all the time. Like, people put in bug fixes, and the next 2 days or so there will be like a minor little update that fixes the bugs and stuff. It's really, really cool. My second game, not for the show, that I played that I absolutely adored, it's Mortal Kombat 11. I heard some asshole talk Nate into getting it. I don't know why he would do that. But it's fucking fantastic. It's so fun. Mortal Kombat has come a long way. A long way. And it is just stupid good fun. And my third best game that I played, not for the show, is probably going to be no surprise to anyone. Even the fact that I put like 6 dots in front of it, I don't even want to say it out loud because everybody already knows. But it's Elder Scrolls Skyrim.
Oh, I honestly thought you were going to say Black... No, I thought he was going to say Black Desert.
Oh, both. That would have been 4 and 5, probably. If it's Kingmaker and Black Desert. Both are awesome in their own rights, for sure. But Skyrim, why do I keep going back to it? It's because... And you know what's funny is it's because of modders. Like, it's me going and checking out all these cool mods and stuff because I've played the shit out of the base game. But I keep going back to... I'll probably end up playing that motherfucker tonight. You know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those games that I just always go back to. So, like, those 3. Judonia, Mortal Kombat 11, Skyrim, closely followed by Pathfinder, Kingmaker, and Black Desert, are my best games that I played that were not for the show. And this is not encapsulated by just computer games. Like, if you guys played some retro games, things like that, please, by all means.
Yeah, I think the first one that comes to mind for me is Metroid Dread for the Switch that came out this year. Super fantastic game, another great Metroidvania, a style of game that I truly enjoy a lot. And it was really fun getting to play a new 2D Metroid game. Like, I feel like that's something that we haven't had in a very long time. And it just felt really good to get back into that world with Samus and go around blowing stuff up. Really good stuff. And then another game that I really had a lot of fun with this year was Pokemon Shield. It's another really good game for the Switch that I got into this year, and I've really had a lot of fun with that one too. Just like I said, it's my game I go to relax, and it really lives up to it. It's a really good game. And then my other game of the year, not for the podcast, is Predator for the NES.
Hey!
There it is. I was waiting. All right. Well, that's a good list.
I have a couple of weird ones. I actually think that my games of the year that we didn't play for the podcast, because most of the games I played this year were for the podcast. I don't think I really got a lot of new games this year just to play them when they were new, So I'm actually going to go with Gartic Phone, TKO, and Super Animal Royale.
Good choices.
Wow. I held my fingers up waiting to drop them for Rocket League and Brawlhalla and didn't get either of them.
I thought about those, but I started playing those in like 2018.
Ah, okay, fair.
So Gartic Phone and TKO are both drawing games. TKO is part of one of the Jackbox sets of games and involves you drawing a t-shirt slogan, or a t-shirt design and a slogan, and then you write a slogan, but people put together the slogans and t-shirts, and you vote on the best one, and people have funny matches with the phrases and the drawings, and it's one of those games where, because there are 3 parts to each shirt, you really don't have to be good at drawing to win, which a lot of people appreciate because people get shy about their drawings. Gartic Phone is another drawing game. I think it's very similar to games like, I think Drawception is another one of them, but it's a telephone game where you get a prompt, then you do a drawing based on the prompt, and the next player tries to figure out what the prompt was, and then the next player draws a drawing based on that prompt, and so forth until you get to the end of the line. And Gartic Phone is interesting because it supports a lot of players and has a lot of different game modes too. Like, there are ones where you just do the prompt at the beginning and end, and everyone else just tries to do a drawing based on the previous drawing, which that sometimes turns out really interesting. And the other one I picked, Super Animal Royale, is a cute little top-down shooter battle royale game that's free to play, and we had a lot of fun with it for a month or two, and the only reason we quit playing was just people weren't starting games. It's not like we got tired of it so much as just no one said, hey, anyone want to play? So we just didn't play.
Yeah. I will say that I skipped out on it, Super Animal Royale, because I'm not really into the Royale games, but y'all did make it sound pretty fun.
It was a good time for sure.
I would say you do not really have to be into the battle royale game. It's more it's more traditionally battle royale-esque than like Tetris 99 or whatever, or 35, 99. But it's Mario was 35. That's right. Okay, but like it's still like the top-down element really makes it feel a little bit, and like the cute style graphics with the animals and stuff. It gives it a little less of a stressful feeling than like your more tactical type first-person shooter games.
I got you.
Yeah, for this category, I also thought about memeing a little bit and saying Garfield Kart, because
I almost said Garfield
that
Kart
was a fun
also.
one.
I just thought of
another one I think we all three had a little bit of fun with, but I don't think it would have hit the top 3 for anybody, was Grip, that racing game.
I was just about to say Grip.
Yep.
Yeah, that game is fucking fun, but yeah, it's one that we've only played it a handful of times, so it's like I can't really toss it up with the greats.
It's cool. Grip combat racing. It's I don't think we've mentioned it on the show before, but it's basically you said similar to a game called Roll Cage, I think.
It is the legit spiritual successor to Roll Cage for the PlayStation 1. Yes.
Yeah, it's a racing game where you can shoot at the other cars, but you can also drive on the ceiling, and there's a lot of really cool map design because of that fact.
Yeah, and when you're doing it, at least I haven't used any of the floater cars, but the cars with tires, their tires are so large that when you flip upside down, you can keep going.
Yeah.
So that's great too.
Kind of like your RC car. It's kind of a cool thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how Roll Cage was back in the day as well.
I actually have one more game I'd like to suggest for one of the games that I've really enjoyed, not for the podcast, that I hope comes up for the podcast.
Do we have a separate list of games we hope come up for the podcast?
Yeah, you're right. But this is also one of the best games I played this year, not for the podcast.
Oh, okay. Let's go then.
On Steam. It's kind of like very like Zelda-y, 3D Zelda-y. And in like the best ways, there's a lot of like just platforming and puzzles, and I think it really lives up to like a kind of a Zelda thing. And it's made by the same people that did Torchlight, I think, if that game's familiar to anybody. It's just a really fun game, and I think that if we get it for the podcast, I think we'll all have a pretty good time with it.
I just realized I didn't start playing it until 2021, so I'm actually gonna say ahead of all the ones I named earlier, Hades is my pick for the game I started this year that was the best.
Yeah, Hades was fun while it lasted.
I know we both got our first. Yeah, it's just a great game.
It was fun. I hit a fucking brick wall in that game and walked away from it. But, all right, let's.
Yeah, there's a couple certain boss fights that are very easy to run into over and over without feeling like you make progress until you do.
Oh yeah, that fucking Minotaur.
I kind of thought that might be it. Yeah.
All right, then I think that all that we have left is announcing the winners, then our game of the years, and then the games that we hope come up next year.
Sounds good.
So
excellent.
Let me hit up Steamy really quick. Looks like the person or persons. No, I guess it would just be person. Never mind. Who wins Just Cause 3 is
drum roll.
Tux Deluxe.
Congrats, Tux.
Tux Deluxe.
Congrats, Tux.
So I will be getting with you. I'll send you the code for Just Cause 3 for Steam. I hope you enjoy that, man. And let's see, for the Hyperdimension Neptunia Rebirth Series 1 through 3, drum roll please. Kana.
Hey, Con. I feel like Con is going to love those
right.
games.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, if anybody is going to appreciate those, it's going to be Kana. So awesome. I will get the codes out to everybody, and thank you very much for sending in, emailing us, and just listening to the show. We fucking appreciate all you guys so much.
Absolutely.
And gentlemen, that leaves our number one for the game of the year. I don't know if any of these are going to be a surprise to anyone, but it'll be a a good discussion regardless. Who wants to go first with this one?
Sure, I'll go first because it's no big surprise.
All right.
Like I already said, when I said Hollow Knight was number 2, you guys probably already knew which was going to be number 1. And like I said, it was really hard because I was torn between them. But this game reignited my love for JRPGs, and I really appreciate everything about it. So this goes to Dragon Quest XI, no doubt. Some great characters in the game, great setting, fun combat. Like this game just made JRPGs fun again.
Hell yeah.
I'm afraid I'm going to have to give this one to Dragon Quest XI S Echoes of
I
No
didn't
Elusive
realize that
Age.
you were going to give that number 1.
Yeah, I mean, that game just, has so much content. It is like, I mean, I remember feeling like Dragon Quest VIII could have been two different games, put one after the other. But this one, I mean, it's super long without overstaying its welcome. Like, I mean, it's crazy how much game there is in this game.
All right. And my number one is Dragon, a game about a dragon. No, I'm just kidding.
Yay!
My number one is Trails in the Sky.
Yeah.
Yeah. No surprise there. Like I said, if you've listened to that episode, specifically the spoiler cast, you know how I feel about the game. The way that they told the story, the way that your characters evolve over the game, and the way that they wrap up one to leave you just an emotional wreck wanting to play two, chapter 2 is incredible. It was one of the more impactful endings to an RPG that I've seen since Persona 5, and that's saying something. So it's, I cannot praise it enough. I super fucking look forward to playing chapter 2. I've been holding off. I told myself I was going to play it immediately, but I've been holding off to do it for the show. But that is my number one. Is Trails in the Sky first chapter.
Let me finish Trails in the Sky, and we can audibly call Trails in the Sky Part 2 at some point next year.
Yeah, you must wait for us.
Oh, yeah. That was my main thing. I was like, well, yeah, I'll wait for the dudes. Especially now that Nate's playing it too. Like,
yeah.
Fun fact. The Trails in the Sky spoiler cast is one of the only 2 episodes of the Steam Machine podcast I have not listened to.
Dang.
What's the other
Duke
one?
Nukem. I didn't want to.
Yeah, that one, I think I've actually skipped that one too. Just behind the scenes, that one tore us apart.
You're tearing me apart,
dude.
Lisa.
I don't want to get too dramatic, but like, after that recording, no one was happy. And it was largely my fault.
Yeah, it's just a fucking weird episode.
I'm not saying. We've been through our apologies and stuff. I don't feel bad about it anymore. We needed more planning and systems, and we learned a lot from that episode. That's what I'm saying.
Well, we're coming up on the end, gentlemen. Before we roll into the house cleaning and all of that, games that we hope to play in 2022. Now, I just pulled some off the top of my head. I don't know how deeply y'all looked into the list for this, or if you just kind of pulled from things that you know we have.
I didn't look at the list. I just picked games that I thought were probably on it.
That's fair. I mean, there's a good chance that it's probably on there. So, my games that we hope we play in 2022, Far Cry 5, because the story of that one's really fucking good. Control.
Yeah.
Because Control looks really cool, plus it's inspired by some SCP stuff, which is really cool to me.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 9.
Be a good one. I would love to go back to that game.
That's gonna be crazy.
So back in the day, I only ever beat the first disc of Final Fantasy 9, and I know that that's one that I think Jeff and Grim are interested in. So that might be a roundtable discussion. We'll figure that out. Also, some that I added early this morning. Mortal Kombat 10 and 11. I hope that they come up at some point. And the Kingdom Hearts 1 or 2.
Oh, yeah. That's also a series that I have no experience with, but like, I'd be happy to give it a shot. It's like one of the biggest misses I have in RPGs. Do you know what happens in Final Fantasy 9, or is that like the furthest you've gone and you haven't like learned anything about it since then?
All I know is, I don't know.
I remember when that game came out, and me and a lot of people at school were playing it about the same time. We were hyper speculating on the plot as we reached new areas. Like, that game had a lot of fun turns and twists.
That's a top tier Final Fantasy game for sure.
I agree. I think it might be the best 3D Final Fantasy I've played.
And I do want to say that part of me also hopes for Final Fantasy X, but I have a lot of nostalgia tied with that game, so that would just be a nostalgia trip for me.
Boy, that game has an aesthetic to it, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
It's called Lulu.
So what about you guys?
Ooh.
Oof, God, yeah, that started the whole thing for me, where like I'm all about Lulus these days.
I don't blame you, buddy. I don't blame you one bit.
What do you guys have down for this?
Yeah, so 3 games that I hope we play in 2022. I just wrote down 3. I'm pretty sure all these are on the list. The first one is Yoku's Island Express, which is a really cool kind of like a mix between Metroidvania and pinball, which I've seen
What?
It's an interesting little game. It's one that I've seen a couple of clips of that I've always been super curious about, and I would love to get around to playing that. And then another one that's just like purely, you guys, I don't even have to explain why this one's on my top 3, but Ori and the Blind Forest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Makes sense.
That is the most you game.
And then the one that might be surprising, Half-Life.
Oh, okay.
That's fair. Yeah, to see the Black Mesa side
I really
want
to see that, and like, I've kind of been coming back into. It's weird. I didn't think I'd get to this point. I'm starting to appreciate FPSs a little bit more, and especially ones with interesting mechanics. And from everything you guys have told me, this is an FPS with some super interesting mechanics. So yeah, throw me in there, Coach.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to the fact that like the big named FPSs all became so similar. And like just became shoot bullet kill thing end of it. Like these games that have the first person shooter elements, but then go deeper, like Stalker, Fallout, Half-Life, like those kinds of games. I feel like they're gonna hit differently than like when we pull Call of Duty 3 or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
I think I'm gonna be miserable in Call of Duty 3, but I really can see myself getting into Half-Life
for sure.
Yeah, you guys have said nothing but bangers. Like, I'm looking forward to all of these games. Like, it's really crazy, with different genres too. So what I have is, I think basically my answers are a little bit of more of the same. Like, all they're pretty on brand for me. Really want to get around to Unreal Tournament. We had so much fun with Quake that this feels like the obvious next game to play.
This game, like, I don't think we had the time to plan it with Quake, but I feel like we could get some pretty fun people to play Unreal Tournament with.
I would love to get like 6 people together at least and try to do some more capture the flag.
Jeff?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I'll say Jeff's ears just perked up 10 times. Unreal Tournament.
Now, Jeff's ears aren't going back down because my next one is Free Space 2.
Jeff's fox ears are really up now.
Right, he's getting hard at this point. I only know about that game from you and Jeff just saying how good it is. Like, I don't even really know what it is. So I guess that would be a good thing to go into it with this.
Did you ever play Star Wars TIE Fighter or X-Wing?
I played Star Wars Jedi Knight, or no, I'm sorry, not Jedi Knight, like Jedi Starfighter or something on PS2.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that compares, because I do know that X-Wing and TIE Fighter are kind of a different kind of different kind of series that are a little bit different, but I don't know. I'd be curious to see how that compares.
Yeah, I've never played Jedi Starfighter, but I guess it's just kind of like it's very. It sounds weird to call it simulator for a thing that doesn't exist, right? But the closest thing I can say, it's like a realistic flight simulator, but for spaceships. You know?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. It's the thing about Free Space is like and in the other games I mentioned, but you control a fighter or bomber style ship. So like if you've ever watched Star Wars at all, you know the little guys that are flipping around while the big bases and massive like Star Destroyers are firing at each other and stuff. So you're kind of like, you have the prospect of kind of being a fly that gets swatted by the big ships in this game. You have to be kind of you do objectives that push the battle in your favor, but you can't just like try to take on the biggest, baddest thing by yourself either, you know?
Okay. That makes sense.
And Free Space 2 just in particular had a really good plot, and I feel like it stands alone. Like, I know Jeff likes Free Space 1 too, but like I would just skip to 2 if it was my choice.
That's what's up.
Because I just think it starts off a lot stronger. Free Space 1 spends a lot of time introducing its concepts.
Word up. Now, did you have any others that you hope pop up, or?
Oh yeah, I only said the Ultimate Unreal Tournament. Sorry, I had a little Wi-Fi hiccup. But yeah, I also I don't think that the final Doom is on the list because I think that you have it included in your Doom 2, so I don't think you're counting it as a separate game. So I'm going to go with the Ultimate Doom, which was Doom 1, episodes 1 through 4.
Okay, yeah, that could be fun to do.
Because I want to play more Doom. I mean, it's obviously it's there. I think that. That's the most nostalgic Doom for most people. That's, you know, the one that has your E1M1 and all of that. And I have a feeling that seeing episode 1 again will bring a lot of fun memories back for people.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's what's up, gentlemen. Yeah. Any final thoughts about 2021? Like, what do you...
Fuck it.
I mean, yeah, 2021 was a weird year to say the least. Like, I started streaming at the end of 2020, but I didn't really it didn't really become as important to me as it is now until this year. It's like the year I started speed running, which has been really fun. I've made a bunch of new friends from it, and I'm really grateful for the speed running community for that. And it was cool because, like, I went from being a baby garbage speedrunner to actually being elite in a video game. Like, I am very good at Predator. I won't say otherwise. And then becoming a perma guest host for this podcast has been really cool for me, and I'm thankful for that. So thanks for having me on as much as you have, Dalton. And just, like, my internet presence has become bigger. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
It's been a fun ride.
Yeah, I've enjoyed coming on here. You know, there've been so many fun like games that I would never have tried on my own, and like games that I was like slightly curious about that I definitely never would have looked like. You would not have caught me going, you know what I really need to figure out? If Gex is as mediocre as everyone remembers.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
But like, I don't know. I had a lot of fun with this. Got to share some games I love. Got to share some games y'all love, and make some new gaming friends. And I've really enjoyed the community, especially the Discord. You know, just having a lot of people around. And I know I'm kind of I don't know if I'm exactly reclusive, just because I don't have much of a social media presence. But I'm kind of a bit of an introverted type of guy, and it's been neat being able to talk to people on my terms without it being too much.
Big shout outs to the Discord. You guys are fantastic, and I appreciate everything that y'all do, just being in there chatting with us, because y'all give us a lot more to talk about.
Yeah,
absolutely,
for sure. So like 2021 was a very weird year for me. I know I started the show in 2020, but like when I started the show, it was like a way to get my mind off of the heartbreak that I was going through at the time, and a good way for me and Ryan to communicate. Since me and him were good buddies and everything, and obviously the show has evolved now into this year, but I feel like the show has kind of like found its footing now in this year, and going forward it's only going to get better. And like having you guys on and like playing the games that we have and having the discussions that we have, and just the banter even off mic when we're just in our group chat and stuff is just hilarious. And be it talking about games, music, TV, or anything, like I'm fucking super appreciative of both of you guys. I love you. You're my brothers, and I appreciate you guys. And like all the listeners, it still blows my mind that I check the analytics each week, and so many people from so many different countries listen in. Like I'm just some fucking dude from Florida, right? And like to know that like people are listening to me in Singapore, Peru, like all of these different countries and stuff. It's so mind blowing to me, and I appreciate when I don't hit the mic. That's what I appreciate.
That was a big punch.
That was a sincerity bop.
I appreciate the shit out of all of you, like you said, in the Discord. Like when I wake up every day and there's been like hours of conversation while I was asleep, I love that shit. I love to see it, go back and read through it. I'm glad that it's active in there. We're coming up on 100 episodes this year, which is going to be like another fun episode to do. And here's to many more, man. Thank you very much for listening. You make this fat guy happy, and I appreciate that. So I believe now that I've gotten all sappy, we can go into the house cleaning. And I believe that I would give a shout out to all of our patrons, with a special shout out to Nate Sir Cogsworth, the 7th of Juniper, Jeff, the original expendable old Jeffy Lou himself, and Eraser Adam. Thank you for the Sinking City. Other than that, if you want to join the Discord that we've been so lovingly gushing over, you can go to bit.ly/TSMP Discord, all capital letters. And that'll send, just click that in, boom, it'll give you an invite link. You can come in and join our daily shenanigans in there. It's Patreon, like we mentioned, there's Patreon. If you want to do is patreon.com/the Steam Machine Podcast, and just $1 a month can get you early access to the episodes. I would say ad free, but our normal stuff's already ad free, so we'll just say ad free because it sounds good. And also, our little banter and stuff before the episode starts, which, I would like to start like our patrons asking us things, so we can do our Patreon section be curated by our patrons. So keep that in mind too. Maybe $1 a month will get you that. You want a shirt?
That's a fun idea.
tsmpproductions.threadless.com and get you a cool ass shirt with our merch on it. And I'm gonna plug my own shit for a minute. NileTheNightmare.bandcamp.com. I've dropped 2 albums this month. One is a album of all new stuff, and one is a Greatest Misses Volume 2. That is the Kalenia the Nightmare God, or the Nightmare Queen. I'm sorry. So hopefully you guys check that out. I like it personally. I make music that I like to listen to, and if other people like to listen to it, that's cool too. But it's all good. And yeah, all of those links can be found at bit.ly/the Steam Machine Podcast, capitalized phonetically. And all of our shit's there, including a button that'll take you over to Nate's Twitch, which is where I'm going to let him take over right now and plug his stuff.
Yeah, so you can find me on Twitch, Twitter, and TikTok at Turtle Bear Man. It's really just me talking about my retro game garbage that I love so much. So if you love retro games, come check me out on those 3 platforms. Also, my hands have smelled like onions this entire episode because I was prepping chili for tomorrow earlier tonight, and the whole episode I've been like, oh, onions, that's why. So just in case you're wondering why I kept smelling my hands through the episode, it's because they smell like onions. Anyway, that's me.
I figured you were just like picking your butt, making sure he's... Oh, that's good. Willie, you got anything you'd like to plug, good sir?
Yeah, man, everyone should put their hands in some onions. It's really good. I don't know. My Twitch and Twitter are Icebrand Studios. I don't use them very often, at least not to publish stuff, but I sometimes stream. I've tweeted once. In 2011, I think.
I love it. I love it.
I don't have any other plugs. I was hoping something would come up, but man, I'm bored and I'm boring. Make sure if you go to a place where someone has to bring you stuff, you tip them well.
Good call.
Hey, that's good advice. I will give a special shout out, just like to the podcast that helped me get inspired to do this. I try to give them shout outs every now and then. So Tadpog, Tyler and Dave Play Old Games. Shout out to Tadpog. Shout out to Factory Sealed Retro Video Game Podcast. Shout out to JRPG Report. Right? And I feel like I'm missing one. And I probably am. So I'm going to say shout out to Matt Chat on YouTube. Because that's not a podcast, but fuck it. Why not? And have a happy new year, everybody. So for this week's episode of the Steam Machine Podcast, they are the Brothers of Destruction. My name is Dalton, and as always,
Stick your
guys...
hand in some onions.
Hold on. We gotta end the episode with the song that we all know is the actual song of the year. Right? Right. That's what I thought.
The moon and star come to me through fire and war. Oh, oh, come Nerevar, come and look upon my heart, upon my heart. Oh, lay down your weapons, it is not too late for my mercy. Oh, oh, come and look upon my heart, upon my heart. Oh, 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 I'm a god, how can you kill a god? What a grand and intoxicating innocence. I'm a god. How can you kill a god? Shame on you, sweet Nerevar. I'm a god. I'm a god. I'm a god. God. I'm a god. I'm a god. I'm a god. Well, the moon and star come to me through fire and war. Oh, oh. Come, Nerevar, come and look upon my heart, upon my heart. Oh, lay down your weapons, it is not too late for my mercy. Oh, oh, come and look upon my heart, upon my heart. god. How can you kill a god? Shame on you, sweet Nerevar. I'm a god. I'm a god. I'm a god, god. I'm a god. I'm a god. I'm a god. No recall or intervention can work in this place. There is no escape. No recall or intervention can work in this place. There is no escape. No recall or intervention can work in this place. There is no escape. No recall or intervention can work in this place. There is no escape. Oh, I'm a god. How can you kill a god? What a grand and intoxicating innocence. I'm a god. How can you kill a god? Shame on you, sweet Nerevar. I'm a god. I'm a god. I'm a god, god. I'm a god. I'm a god. I'm a god.